Alright, what is going on YouTube? GamerLegion versus Suomi World Desert Championship Grand Finals over here, a best of 7 with GamerLegion having a relatively easy time so far in the tournament, defeating Heresy 3-0 and 4-1 versus Vietnam Legends. On the other side, Suomi also had a relatively easy time. They defeated Rulers of Rome in the quarterfinals. Semifinals, they ended up having an admin win versus Tempo Storm. That is because Tempo had technical difficulties and wasn't able to play in the assigned time frame, so the admins decided to give them an admin loss, and as such, we kinda didn't have the chance to see what could have been an amazing series. Nonetheless, Suomi is here in the grand finals. Two teams that both strive in preparation and playing in crazy settings, unique settings. Now we're going to have Vilas, Zupi, and Max versus TaToH, Jordan, and Viper. So, game number 1 is just now launching up. And as you see, it's going to be a random map from the map pack. However, a restart can actually be called until the 4-minute mark, which means that if that happens, then the map is also gonna be re-rolled. And if they re-roll the map, then, as I said, it's going to be a new map as well, or at least it could be a new map. It's not guaranteed that it will, but if you call a restart in the random map pack games, then there's a potential to re-roll the map. We're going to have... okay, here's the game. So let's jump in here. And welcome to a map that I haven't seen so far. We'll have to edit the names as well over here real quick. So this is GamerLegion. This is in fact GamerLegion A, because on the other side, we had Doubt, Slam, and Nilly as GamerLegion B. So welcome to TaToH as Britons in one flank in red. The other flank is going to be Jordan as Chinese in purple, and the pocket will be the Viper in yellow Franks. Other side, it will be the Max as Franks in green. We will have Zupi as a flank in teal, and on the other side we'll have Vilas as well in blue Britons. So the main difference is that we do have just Mayans instead of Chinese over here. Chinese might actually be a better civilization on this map, because believe it or not, Chinese do have a bit of a bonus to their demo ships, which could be very valuable in this one, as we do have what appears to be a restart. One of the biggest things, or one of the biggest issues I have with the tournament settings is that if you call a restart in the first game, then the map can be re-rolled. So if the players do not like the map, they can just say, okay, whatever, we don't want to play this one, and you know, the map is going to be re-rolled, and it very much seems like it might be GamerLegion calling the restart over here. Kaskari, thank you so much for the new sub, I appreciate that a lot, welcome. No reroll? What happened in that case then? The civilizations, they save and exit? Because it was laggy, okay. Okay, thank you so much. That helps a little bit. I personally wouldn't like if they would just call a restart to reroll the maps. The civilizations will have to remain the same, but you can technically, as I said, reroll the dice on maps if you don't like it. This is one of the more interesting maps that we haven't really seen very frequently in the tournament. You have most of the wood in the middle. In fact, you have very little wood to start with. So much so that you actually don't have any wood. I'm just noticing that you only have a couple of straggler trees. And Ujio with the 6 months of Prime sub, thank you so much as well for the support, I appreciate that. So it very much seems like this is like a faster version of migration, so to say. You have to get in here very fast, otherwise you will not have any kind of wood income. You don't even have a single starting wood line out here. Would be interesting to see how this plays out. Could be a map that ends in a stalemate, to be honest, because I feel like if you like void yourself in here, and you're gonna have ships like galleys, war galleys, whatsoever, controlling these rivers, it might easily end in a stalemate. Regardless, we're going back to lobby, and if the information I received on chat was correct, and it is not a reroll, just a rehost because of lag, then we should have a lobby up in a matter of moments, and indeed we do. So it was indeed a save and restore. It's surprising it was laggy because, believe it or not, they're all playing on European servers, right? TaToH, Viper, Jordan, all Europeans, Max, Zupi, Villas, same thing as well. So they should have a fairly low ping environment to play in. So in 40 seconds, the spec countdown is going to disappear, and we will be able to jump back into the first game. So in this map, I would prefer Chinese overall in comparison to Mayans. The thing is that you don't know what map you're going to play when you select your civilizations. This means that they have to sort of choose general purpose civilizations. That's why you see Frank's pocket, that's why you see Britain's flank, Chinese, Mayans flank. But in this case, Frank's pocket is not super strong because technically, as I said, on the map, you can't really use the heavy cavalry play of Frank's. This is more like a water map. How is the map chosen? It's a random map from the map pack. The game randoms it for you. So let's jump back into the first game. So as I said, because this map looks like this one, in this case Franks are very underwhelming as a civilization because this is a water map, so to say. Like, there's gonna be some land element, but this is not at all about like cavalry play in the middle whatsoever. Oh, you can actually walk in here? I didn't know that. That changes a lot of things. How is this even walkable? I assume that these are the shallows we're looking at, but I thought that this is like actual water and you have to make a transport ship. In this case, the Franks could work out nicely, but I still am favoring Jordan's team a little bit better because Chinese demos could be very, very devastating over here. Also, keep in mind that TaToH loves to play with demos as well, so TaToH could be getting some nasty demo hits in here. Still, this could be a map for a potential fast castle for one of the pockets, and maybe even go for something like fast fires or so. Or, alternatively, there's technically walkable land over here, so you could just play just like a standard map. Now, I don't think that the flanks will both go archers on either side, because archers will have a low mobility, and it's very dangerous to cross this path here on water, or anywhere basically, with archers. Instead, the pockets are likely to play scouts because they can do quite a lot of harassment on this open outside. And then I would assume that there will be at least one flank that goes for ships, potentially both of them. And from that perspective, as I said, I like Chinese and Britons a lot more than Mayans and Britons. Looks like everyone is going to have a wood line established here in the middle. So that's how we are starting this one. 5 wheels already for Villas, meaning that he's most likely going to play with a dock. Technically, there is shorefish that you can take, but it's not a huge amount of fish to work with. And also keep in mind that fishing ships actually gather slower from shorefish than they do from deep fish, which means that this might not be worth it to go for like 3, 4, 5 fishing ships that you would do on something like islands or so. You might add 1 or 2, but it will take a lot more time until your investment actually pays off in this one, and I don't see a dock coming up from anyone just yet until Viper drops the first one. Normal Jaguars in the middle or stronger ones? No, these are normal Jaguars. It's not a bad question though, because this tournament has a lot of like crazy settings whatsoever, so these could be some super Jaguars, but apparently they aren't. They are just here to be sort of an aesthetic and be a little bit annoying. It's worth pointing out that all the relics are here in the middle. There is 3, 6, 7 relics if I count appropriately, as the second board just now comes in for Zupi. He has been pushing in some deer for himself and goes for a barracks. This is actually going to be sort of a pre-milled rush here from Zupi. Doc coming in here for Jordan, and it looks like all GamerLegion members are playing with dogs, and none of the Suomi members will drop a single dock here, so very, very different strategies here from Suomi and GamerLegion. TaToH sees the barracks, and he probably knows that the Drush is coming his way, and it seems like Zupi is pinging that he's going to Drush TaToH's woodline. TaToH already has a Voz up in here, and what is this? Just a pause? Yeah, it very much seems like it is just a pause. Let's hope it's not a pause bug. So Hello? Game? Is it a pause bug or what happened? I know that the players are streaming POV themselves, but keep in mind that... Okay, it's not a pause bug. So, there is 1 minute spectator delay for the casters, which means that, like, even if they paused 1 minute ago, we will only see the result just now. So, here's the rush coming in. TaToH has taken some damage on his militia, or his scout over here, but it's not like he's in any significant danger, and this is a better choice for TaToH. See, he's not making fishing ships. He's using that dock as a drop-off point to shore fish. Oh, that's so smart from TaToH and all the other GamerLegion members. This is why, one of the reasons why I like this tournament so much is because it's nice to see pro players playing on some like unique settings or crazier settings than normal, because it can bring you an element of, completely different strategies. You see that Suomi is playing the standard berry strategy. It looks like they haven't thought about the possibility of using a dock as a drop-off point. Obviously, a dock is actually more expensive than a mill would be. However, you will get you the value back very, very easily, because gathering from shorefish with wheels is much faster than gathering from berries. And you will also preserve your berries for the future. So, this is actually a better strat, I believe, from GamerLegion over here. Viper is also getting rushed. And he only has 1.5 scout to defend it. Viper now has Feudal Age though, so his scout is going to be a little stronger than the opponent's scouts. We'll have a dock up for Vilas as well, and he realized that, oh, he could also do quite a lot of shore fishing over here. But the first feudal is the Viper going for what is going to be a scout's play, I believe. Was a little bit late with that dock though, because he didn't have the wood. He was idled a tiny bit on his wood line, and he went for a second lumber camp, so he wasn't able to afford the stable immediately. Now, we will have Feudal Age coming in here for everyone but Zupi. Zupi is going for what seems to be a Drush Archer's play. Overall, he is without a dock, and so is Max. Now, keep in mind that eventually Viper will also have to go for his own berries, and he's just not dropping the mill. But still, the early food economy for GamerLegion is gonna be like miles ahead compared to their opponents. We're gonna have some Vols coming in from Jordan here, as Vilas is poking around trying to get a Veil kill here. Scout from Jordan comes back as well. We already have scouts popping out for both Max and the Viper. Viper should have no trouble cleaning up this rush here. In fact, I would love to see Zupi just leaving this militias behind to try and fight the scouts, and then just try to escape with the eagle, because losing that eagle would hurt quite badly for him. It looks like now Vilas' scout is too weak to be able to fight this one, and Vilas is going for a fire galley play, so they do want to control the waters here. Jordan is going to play archers, and TaToH is also playing archers. So it seems like GL is just using the docks for pure fishing and nothing else, not a single ship popping out. Whereas for Suomi, they will start dropping a couple of fire galleys over here. Potentially even galleys could make sense. And in that case, honestly, I like Suomi's play here a little bit better. Because if you get a couple of galleys out, then pushing with archers is going to be very, very hard for GamerLegion's flanks. Now, those are not up just yet. There's a hole here. There's a hole here for Zupi, and that's a disaster. Oh, Viper doesn't commit, though. Viper didn't commit. It looks like he saw that there is quite a lot of Veils there, but it was only 4 Veils, and he had 3 Frankie scouts. The reason why he probably didn't commit is because he saw the green scouts coming in and he didn't want to get trapped. Still, that could have been a nice opportunity. Archer is now coming out for TaToH. Remember that he didn't go for a Drush Archers play, he went straight Archers, which means that he's got better Archer numbers right now than Zupi. Or at least he should. He's at 7 versus 4, but out of that 7, only 5 of them are here on the front line. Blacksmith coming up as Suomi starts voling themselves all the way to the water. And now the archers are popping out and trying to push Jordan. Jordan is fully voled though, so I don't think that these archers will be able to do much against him. The big fighting is going on here on the left side, so Viper and TaToH poking and probing for a time being. TaToH is without fletching, whereas fletching is coming in now for our teal player, so GL will no longer be able to fight this one. Over here, these militias are just soaking up some arrow fire, keeping track of the rest of the archers. But now, Zupi's gotta be careful because TaToH's got 9 archers on the field against his 6 only. Looks like Vilas will try to bash his way through the walls here. Jordan is still just massing archers back at home. He probably wants to unpop them all at the same time after grabbing fletching. But he actually unpops them on this side, so he won't be able to surprise his opponent. And these archers might technically be able to get in here and force some idle time on those gold miners. Viper is going for scale boarding, so he's going to go very, very feudal heavy. But considering that Zupi is making a dock here, it's very possible we're going to see a demo. And a demo here would be devastating against GL. It looks like Vilas will not commit against Jordan, as here comes the fight. Viper will most likely jump on those archers in the moment he gets +1 defense. Here's the demo raft coming in here for Zupi, as his wood line is Vold. So I feel like this is not something that he should panic about right now. And as long as GL's army is over here, here's TaToH with the demo, here's TaToH with the demo, here's TaToH with the demo, and he's a beast when it comes to playing with demos. TaToH gets a big hit in, and this is why I said that this map is technically supposed to favor GamerLegion because it fits their playstyle so well. And right now Max has no defense upgrades on those scouts, whereas Viper has a huge amount of scouts over here. This is as good as it gets for GamerLegion. Other side, Jordan is holding 1v1 versus Vilas, and now it looks like these guys might be going for a pocket. Now keep in mind that this demo now has a chance to retaliate on TaToH's archers. Is TaToH going to notice this? TaToH? Could have been worse. Could have been worse. However, these archers could also be intercepted by the scouts. Defensive tower coming up here for Max to preserve his wood line. So I feel like Suomi actually managed to even things out more or less with that demo. It's still just 3 archers for Zupi and 14 for TaToH, but GL.TaToH is coming in for both Vilas and the Max over here, so it looks like GamerLegion is playing a lot more feudal heavy. And if GL.TaToH actually kicks in for Max here, a couple of knights could really help out here. Defense upgrade coming in already for Max, and he's gonna go forging as well. He was gonna have to abandon his gold mine though. So he sacrificed a lot of eco, but he wants to wait for the opportunity to just clean up these archers, and these archers might have overextended here, to be honest. I would have loved to see Max attacking these guys right now, but he's waiting for +1 attack. Viper, TaToH, and Jordan are also on the way to GL.TaToH, so the only one who hasn't clicked up just yet is Zupi. He's actually pretty far away from clicking up right now, so that could be troublesome for Suomi. On the bright side of things for them, it looks like Vilas will beat Jordan to GL.TaToH by a massive margin, which means he will have a chance to push this gold mine, or potentially this wood line even. As GL.TaToH is in light cav for Max. That's a bit of a surprise upgrade over here. He's a little bit late with the second stable, but it looks like he has quite a lot of scouts over here, so light cav could make sense with +2 defense to clean this one up, and TaToH's archers once again could be caught off guard. Zupi, the demo! That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And if you now take this fight, where Viper is still with scouts versus +2 defense light cavs, suddenly this is way better in terms of fighting over here for Suomi. As I said, Zupi is going to be late to GL.TaToH over here, but there's a chance that Viper scouts will get intercepted once again here by a demo. This is not a move that Zupi should have made though. He doesn't want those scouts to jump on his archers, but you see that Max is chasing Viper down, and Viper's only escape is gonna be here. Another big demo could come in here from the Finns. Viper notices that and he's going to change direction. Right now he's distracting Max's light cavalry quite heavily. Other side, I did mention that early GL.TaToH could be devastating here against Jordan. He's up to GL.TaToH himself, he's at 19 archers against 22 crossbows, but it's going to take some time until he gets the crossbow upgrade, and you see that Jordan doesn't have the gold to afford Botkin arrow, and he's off from his gold mine, he has to go for a market. So Vilas is winning against Jordan here big time. Other side, Viper is, as I said, just distracting Max's forces. Max detaches some of his light cavalry to chase the opponent's light cav over here. 3 TCs for Viper, it's going to be 2 TCs only for the Max for the time being. GL.TaToH is in for Zupi as well. TaToH is going for quite a lot of demos here, as we're gonna have another demo coming in here from Zupi. This time it gets sniped down by the Briton crossbows. It looks like now Jordan will be able to engage this one with +1/+2. Remember that range advantage is on the side of Vilas over here thanks to Briton crossbows, and he's gonna have ballistics whereas Jordan will not, so he's gonna be able to potentially take some very, very good engagements here. Slowly the light cav actually get grinded down over here, as TaToH is going to be pushing the wood line of Zupi. Zupi might have to retreat a little bit. He's the only player in this game from Suomi's team that has just 1 TC. Other side, 1 TC only for Jordan, and we're also gonna have 2 TCs for TaToH. So the way that this worked in the GamerLegion versus Vietnam Legends set is that it was always Jordan and TaToH absorbing damage on the flanks and Viper just outbooming everyone. And they were able to win some very, very easy games against Vietnam because of that. By game number 5, I think Vietnam figured out that the only way that they will win this is if they are able to like pressure Viper actively. And that's not something that is happening in this situation. I love these crossbows over here from Vilas harassing the wood line of Jordan here a little bit. But now Zupi is under a lot of pressure, and he's losing his crossbow reinforcements. He's only at 14, and TaToH has 25. So you're gonna need a huge amount of knights here from Max, but Max is leaving, and Zupi already lost one of the ranges. At this point, it's not looking great for Suomi, mainly because this southern flank is looking really rough. So with a good fight, Suomi might be able to turn this one around, and +2 defense will be in for Zupi alongside Ballistics. But still, Vilas is not dominating the north. However, I think GL is sort of dominating the south over here. And that means that GL should have a fairly considerable advantage over here. Jordan cannot cross this river right now, but there is no more demos from Vilas, and once he crosses, he's gonna have all the chance with the Elite Skirm support to fight this one. Keep in mind that both cavalry players are supporting on the southern flank, so Elite Skirms are legitimate there for Jordan. Zupi's eco is under heavy pressure over here, so I feel like the only way that Suomi is gonna be able to have a shot at this one is if Vilas can actually start like actively killing Jordan here, because Zupi is dying really badly. Well, he's not completely dead. If you look at him, he's at 49 vills, lowest in the game. In terms of vills for the other players, it's still fairly close, so GL only has a 3 vill lead. But as I said, I feel like Vilas is gonna be needed to push the north in order to have a chance, because the south is looking really grim for Suomi at this point. That's quite a lot of knights coming in here from our green player, alongside some light cav support, so this might be the moment where Suomi commits to a fight. Remember that TaToH does have the range advantage here, and it's mostly light cavs as well from Max, so I'm not sure if this is a good enough fight here for GamerLegion. It looks like they're trying to focus down the crossbows, and they might be able to grind down those numbers nice and easy, but as I said, this might have been an overcommitment here from Suomi, because most of that cavalry they had was light cav. And look at this. Now Jordan, as I said, because there is no cavalry support in the north, Elite Skirms are more than legitimate, and Vilas is getting pushed back really badly over here, as a Mangonel comes in here for Vilas in order to try and deal with those Elite Skirms. TaToH is going to be on 3 TCs now soon as well, Viper going for the 4th. The big problem for Suomi is army numbers. It's twice the army right now for GamerLegion, and as I said, Jordan is basically winning a 1v1 versus Vilas here on the north, and Viper and TaToH are winning a very dominant 2v2 against Suomi on the south. GamerLegion takes game number 1 over here with relative ease, I would say. For the majority of the game, GamerLegion was dominating, and this was the tendency for the previous sets that GL has played as well. So, against Heresy, against Vietnam Legends, the teams that they faced were all teams that strived in excellent teamwork, and that applies to Suomi as well, but it very much seems like the individual skill of GamerLegion members was prevailing in this one, especially on the north. Jordan was able to beat Vilas, which is a very good sign for GamerLegion, I would say, because I would have thought that Vilas should be able to beat Jordan over here in the north, but at the end of the day, Jordan mixing in Elite Skirms and Suomi not having the cavalry to deal with that, and the fact that Viper and TaToH outplayed Zupi and Max on the south meant that we have a GamerLegion taking game number 1 over here, probably much more dominant economy as well. Indeed, Viper at 18,000 resources, Vilas also at 18,000, but basically for GL everybody is above 1,600 or 16,000, whereas we have Zupi slightly below 16,000. Not a massive eco difference, but it is notable. Jordan's KD is very, very nice though. 26 kills, 11 deaths. And he did that versus Britain crossbows that have a bigger range as well. So, yeah, if you look at this, this tells you why GamerLegion has one massive, massive, massive KD advantage. And that made sure that, you know, they were able to keep their army numbers high. So overall army highs are also much, much better for GamerLegion. So quick strike from GL here to secure game number 1. And now we're going to the second game over here, which is going to be another random map. This time they can go for any civilization that they haven't used in the first game, basically. So they are setting up the lobby right now. We're just waiting for Jordan to join up, and then we'll go with game number 2. So yeah, once we get to the game number 3, we're going to have a mini best of 3, which I think is going to favor GamerLegion. So the 1v1 section, individual skill-wise, I would say it prefers GL. So I think Suomi needs to win this game number 2, because if not, then there's a chance that with game number 2 being lost and then potentially the 1v1s being lost, they'll be down 3-0. So this is a very important game here for Suomi, because they gotta win at least one of the first 2 3v3s. We're going to random map, so we don't know what that's going to be. Neither does Suomi or GamerLegion, so they will have to potentially be prepared for everything. It very much seems like the same lineup is going to remain for Suomi, Rubenstock not getting on the field right now. We're just going to have Zupi, Max, and Vilas. Vilas and Zupi will remain flanks, whereas Max will stay in the pocket. Other side, TaToH will be a flank, and most likely Jordan's going to stay flank as well, and Viper is just going to play pocket. So we're just waiting for Jordan to join up. What's up with Jordan though? Yeah, the players had some lag, but they believe it was because of the map and not the like internet whatsoever. So yeah, we're just waiting for Jordan. Let's hope that it doesn't take 2 hours until he gets back in here, because it would be cool to just go game after game after game. Yeah, Jordan has to restart his PC. Yeah, I figured, because his stream was off. So I was like, I hope it's not an internet issue, but if he just needs to restart his PC, that's fine. He should be back on track in a couple of minutes. So no more Britons, Mayans, Franks for Suomi, and no more Britons, Chinese, Franks for GL. I think this is the case where you could make a case for Lithuanians pocket being picked, or Persians, because you need a general purpose good pod in pocket. That's also reasonable for potential hybrid maps, because random maps could also contain something like that. So Persians, Lithuanians could be something to consider. Flank-wise, I think the team that hasn't used Mayans up yet will most likely use Mayans. Portuguese or Vikings could be in consideration for both teams, because, as I said, water maps or hybrid maps could be possible over here. So because of that, we are gonna have quite a lot of variety or flexibility when it comes to, you know, selecting maps over here, or selecting civilizations even. Alrighty. It looks like Jordan is back. I mean, like actually back in the lobby, not just Jordan is back like the meme. But we're good to go. with game number 2 over here. So the prize money for this event, I think, is $6,600. It was announced as an $8,000 event, but I think some of that money went for like administration costs and like banners, admin fees, whatever. And some of that went into a map making contest because this tournament actually had a map making contest with the winner being Pag. So you see, game number 6 would be Pag, which was the winner of the map making contest. Are we gonna have Tar Desert? Yes, game number 5, Tar Desert. Tar Desert was the 3rd place in the map making contest. And the other two, Unianga and Kizilkum, are not actually preset maps. So only 2 of the 4, like top 4 plays, the maps are going to be played as preset maps. And I was right about Lithuanians and Vikings. It looks like once the spec countdown goes away, you will be able to see that as well. But we'll have Lithuanians, Ethiopians, and the Vikings versus Lithuanians, Mayans, Vikings. So, indeed, here comes double Lithuanians, and you're also going to have Mayans flank and Vikings, well, Vikings flank for both teams. And then the difference is that we're going to have Mayans and Ethiopians overall remaining. A very important game for Suomi, I mentioned, because, as I said, the big thing here is that if they lose this one, they will be down 2 points, and the 1v1s should be favoring GamerLegion, so there's a chance that if they lose this one, they could fall behind by even 3 scores. So that could be very troublesome for GL. Regardless, we're jumping into game number 2 over here. So welcome to Painted Desert. This is a map called Painted Desert. We often see this one in 1v1s. The way this works out is that you have a bunch of gold and stone in the middle. Most of the players have a forward gold, and you have wood lines at the back over here. Now, this is a super aggressive map in team games because you see that the front of the base for most players are very much open. So we're going to have GamerLegion on the south with Vikings flank for TaToH in red. Other flank is going to be Mayans for Jordan in purple, and Lithuanians pocket for Viper in yellow, just like for Max in green on the other side. And we're going to have Zupi as Vikings in teal on the left side. So it's a Vikings versus Vikings matchup on the left flank. Right flank is going to be an Ethiopians versus Mayans matchup as Vilas plays Ethiopians in blue. So in this map, I would say that you're going to have to play this one really aggressively because, as you see, the map is so open that you could be very, very devastating with droshes, with like a 19 pop or 20 pop scouts play. You have quite a lot of deer to push in, and they're relatively close, so you can actually work on that early on. Relics are all in the middle of the map, which means that it's relatively easy to pick up the relics for Lithuanian players in case we go deeper into the game. But I would say that this game is, with this map being so open, it's very possible that this is a game that could snowball in mid to late feudal age or early castle or so. Cheaper versus better archer, what's better? I would say I would prefer the cheaper archers here for Mayans. Because the thing is that better archers are nice, but it's better for the Mayans if they can just spam archers from double ranges and get the blacksmith out a little bit faster. The faster firing archers are nice, but early on the ability to pop out better numbers or more consistently produce them, especially when your eco is under pressure, could be a little bit more valuable. So I'm actually favoring the Mayans flank over here in purple. Plus you have a nice and little eco bonus as well to start with. So, as things stand, it looks like we're gonna have no aggressive scouts play from either side. This map could also be very much reasonable for laming, but the tournament basically has absolutely no laming allowed. So not even sheep can be stolen from the opponent. So this is why you didn't see any scouts coming forward to try and steal sheep, boars whatsoever. But this could be a laming heavy map because the flanks are relatively close to each other. Usually the boars are on the front. So it's fairly easy to steal those. And if laming wasn't banned, then that could be a possibility. Let's see if we have any of the flanks going for drushes. I don't see anything like that just yet. It seems like Max actually wants to do some walling over here. The main idea probably is that he wants to just help the flanks with the scouts play. So if he's like at least partially walled back at home, that makes sure that he's not gonna get overrun by scouts while he's helping one of his teammates. That's going to be 19 pop feudal over here from Max. With Lithuanians, that's very possible. And I would expect Viper to do the exact same, although right now he's got Veos queued up for a 20 pop feudal. Obviously, 20 pop feudal actually stretches out your eco a little bit less than 19 pop, but in exchange you will be delayed going for scouts. And it looks like Viper also changes his mind. With the amount of hunt that he has available, he's going to click up at 20 population overall. And so we got Brave Sir Robin with the resub. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thank you for the support. And we got a Suomi fan over here. So this is gonna be rough for Suomi because, as I said, civilization-wise, it is slightly better for Jordan, or for GamerLegion's team overall. What's my prediction here? Yeah, I didn't go for a prediction before the set, but considering how GamerLegion was able to 3-0 Heresy and 4-1 Vietnam Legends, I actually would go with a 4-2 for GL for the entire set. For this game, based on what we have seen in the previous one, I'm actually favoring GL, also because I like their civs a tiny bit better. So most players have forward gold mines, so resource control could be a very, very important thing here in this one. Viper's a little late with that barracks. That's gonna be like probably 5-10 seconds too late going into Feudal Age. We'll have a barracks coming in here for TaToH as well. TaToH's going for 22 pop archers. Same thing here for Jordan. Whereas it seems like we're gonna have men-at-arms from Vilas. This will be spotted by Jordan, I believe. I think he sees the barracks, and indeed he does. So he knows that the men-at-arms are coming, and this is the reason why Vilas is poking around with that scout. He wants to make sure that these walls are not up before the men-at-arms arrive, although at this pace this might end up being a late rush in here, because by the time the militias arrive, they will lose quite a lot of HP. Jordan's goldmine could still be exposed here, as Jordan tries to trap that scout in there, but that will still be able to run away for a time being. Early horse color coming in here for Max. You see that he already has double bit axing, so his eco is going to be pretty nice overall. We're going to have Max queuing up scouts already. Viper also on the way with the scouts. And these men-at-arms could technically go and try and hit the Viper. That could be an interesting concept, because that would force one of the archer players to try and help out, and Viper's base is very much open, so a man-at-arms opening could actually work out nicely. It looks like Jordan's gonna have to evacuate his berries here for a moment because of the men-at-arms, and that eagle could also die from Jordan, so it looks like Suomi won't commit against that, and that means that Jordan can heal it up, but Jordan is under heavy pressure. Those men-at-arms are actually getting some decent value in there, and speaking of men-at-arms, we also have a couple over here for Zupi. Looks like TaToH also made his militias, but he hasn't queued up the men-at-arms upgrade just yet. I think he's waiting to see if his opponent does it. And now that there is men-at-arms for Zupi, TaToH queues up men-at-arms himself. Obviously, Viking men-at-arms, well, these are Viking men-at-arms for both players, so those will be relatively even. Jordan still trying to wall his gold miners, as he should be all good to go, although his gold income isn't going to be amazing. Now, he's already queuing up archers, but as I said, he doesn't really have the gold income to make both of those ranges work, so he gets delayed here a little bit. Now I believe that the best thing that these man-at-arms could do is head towards Viper, because Viper wouldn't have an easy response to the man-at-arms, unlike, let's say, Jordan, who can just make a couple of archers and hold them back for the time being. It looks like TaToH wants to keep this part of the wall open with his scout, but he's going to have to fight a spearman here, and he loses most of the HP on his scout. TaToH going towards the hole, though, in an effort to try and get his men-at-arms in there. I think Zupi might realize what's going on, because he doesn't see the men-at-arms here anymore. And TaToH, he's gonna be careful. Okay, he's repairing that wall for a time being. And here come the men-at-arms. Zupi tries to go for a house wall, but that's a little too late, and the men-at-arms from TaToH do get in. It looks like the Man-at-Arms are now indeed heading towards Viper's base, who's going for some fairly big walls over here. He's got Scout's defense back at home, but at this point, for Suomi, it's good if they can trade off the Man-at-Arms of Vilas to the Scouts of Viper. So the Man-at-Arms are now in here for TaToH. We already have a range out for Zupi, but see that he has to pull back all his Men-at-Arms to defend against this one. TaToH already popping out archers himself, and it very much seems like Max's scouts will be intercepting Jordan's archers over here. Viper scouts are also around to try and fight this one, but this is what I was referencing to, that a couple of Men-at-Arms here could be very helpful, although this guy's on stand ground and does not care about the actual fight, so this could have been way worse for GamerLegion. A defensive tower is being forced on TaToH, which is, I think, a nice result here from Suomi. In exchange, Zupi is just gonna go for a fast blacksmith with one range play, and TaToH's gonna do the exact same thing that Suomi did, send the Men-at-Arms towards the Scouts player, although we already have walls up for Max. We actually have walls from most of the Suomi players. GL is also working very heavily towards walling themselves, so the game is going to slow down a little bit, but look at Zupi's resources. With Vikings, he's gonna have a huge amount of resources in the bank, and that could potentially facilitate an earlier Castle Age click up compared to TaToH. Everybody else is pretty far away from clicking up right now. Archers from Jordan moving across the map, as they might be looking to hit the pocket here. Keep in mind that Max's gold mine is very much exposed here. It's good if you just fight against scouts, but what happens if there's archers coming? Max is going for a very feudal heavy fight hero, as we have Zupi picking off a Will here from TaToH. In this game so far, TaToH and Viper both lost a Will, and Zupi and Max killed one each. So here's the deal, now we have Bloodlines and +1 defense for Max's scouts. Viper also has Bloodlines but +1 attack. This means that these scouts will trade off against each other, but that's good for GamerLegion because the archers will be able to hit the gold mine of Max here, although that may not be the case because it looks like Vilas will find these archers, and the next step is that these scouts will come in, and with Bloodlines and +1 defense they will destroy this group of archers. This is looking better and better for Suomi over here. They will destroy Jordan's army, as Zupi is still potentially going to be the first player to hit Castle Age over here, although Viper actually buying some food over here, so he probably wants to get up as soon as possible, realizing that, oh boy, Suomi is going for a feudal age heavy play, so we might need to go up here into Castle Age to do damage. There could be a hole here on this wall for Max if he doesn't realize that tile is getting battered down, but that's not gonna be the case. And now we'll have archers heading towards the base of Zupi, so he could have some idle time on those gold miners, but once again, with these scouts from Max, they could clean up those archers. Viper is no longer going for scouts, so he wants to get up to Castle Age faster than his opponent, Max is. But the reality is that he won't actually beat Max to Castle Age by a massive margin, might be like 20 seconds or so. But in exchange, Max is gonna be able to clean up the archers of the opponents, and at this point, Suomi's flanks have 11 and 12 archers respectively. It's 10 and 10 only for the GL flanks, and this group of archers could have been destroyed here by scouts if TaToH didn't withdraw them. So, looks like the scouts of Max will be used to clean up the Man-at-Arms here. That's a little wasteful because those scouts could have been useful for just soaking up some arrow fire from the opponent's archers, but I guess Zupi just wanted to play this one safe. Everyone clicking up right now with the exception of Zupi over here, which is a little bit late to my taste, but anyways, Castle Age times will be fairly similar. The big thing, however, is that GL had to make a defensive tower here in the pocket for Viper, and here in the flank for TaToH. So GL members have made defensive towers, whereas Suomi didn't. This means that Suomi has a much better chance of adding additional town centers, and we're most likely going to see one on the gold from Max. In fact, I would say that you probably go for one on the gold from each player, because you want to be safe overall. At this point, the game starts to be a little bit more peaceful, as Zupi's archers are looping around here. This could be a little bit dangerous, because Viper's gonna beat him to Castle Age, which means that the first couple of knights could easily pick off these archers, but if you hide them until you get the crossbowman upgrade, these could potentially crawl up on TaToH's wood lines and catch him off guard, because TaToH's gonna move up with all his archers. Now, keep in mind that Zupi's gold mine is very exposed over here, and he doesn't have a backup gold mine. So, at this point, those crossbows could do a lot of damage here, and this is something that Zupi apparently was unprepared for. Right now, he only has 12 crossbows back at home, or soon-to-be crossbows, as opposed to 18, and he needs to withdraw his forces. Now he's off from gold, and that is... Like, I did mention that he didn't make a defensive tower, but that's a risky call, and apparently that risk-taking doesn't pay off for him. The good news for him right now is that TaToH won't commit against his base, because he believes that Zupi is gonna have a decent amount of archers back at home as well. Crossbow Botkin in for TaToH, as we're gonna have ballistics on the way as well for Zupi. Zupi will try to sandwich that army in between his two groups of units, but TaToH is gonna have the hill advantage here, so the best chance for Zupi would be to take this hill and then attack this way. And that's exactly what he's gonna do. He's probably going to reunite his armies over here. TaToH is moving in that direction as well, ballistics on the way for our red player. Right side, it's a relatively peaceful game at this point. Viper with +1/+2 on those knights. What do we have for Max? It's only +2 defense, no attack upgrades. But guess what? We already have Max going in for the relics. Viper is also going for the relics in this one. Random Wolf killing a will here from Zupi. Oh, scouts! The value for those scouts is great. Oh my goodness. That was beautiful. The two leftover scouts from Feudal Age were able to snipe a monk, and that's real value there. 100 gold going down the drain this early is excellent, I would say, for Suomi. Now, that already has ballistics, but in exchange, Zupi has the hill. Zupi doesn't have ballistics just yet, but he does have +1 defense, it does have the hill, so TaToH can't actually commit against this one. TaToH going for TC number 2, Zupi still playing on 1. But it looks like the entire GamerLegion team will go towards Zupi, and Zupi could be in big trouble, because he could easily lose those crossbows over there on the hill to overwhelming knight numbers. They know that it's coming, but I feel like this retreat is already too late, and Suomi getting caught off position over here, and I feel like this is gonna be the entire army of Zupi gone over here. Suomi is gonna have to find a way to retaliate GL for this one, because this could be a disaster here for Zupi. Because at this point, Viper's Knights are mostly going down, but even this DC is not guaranteed to go up. In fact, GL is coming in here, 83%, it's probably going up, but it is -5, 6, 7 vills. That's basically all the wheelbarrow advantage that GL had. That's now gone. So that's like 4 vills or so being killed from Zupi. And once again, the military numbers seem to favor GL. Look at this. 30 crossbows for TaToH, 37 for Jordan, 36 for Vilas, but only 8 now for Zupi after his army got absolutely destroyed. Suomi got caught off guard. Now, speaking of getting caught off guard, GL could be in the same situation now, because guess what? Their armies do not have any more cavalry support now, and suddenly TaToH's crossbow numbers will be just as low as Zupi's crossbow numbers, because this army from Jordan is also gonna get cleaned up here from the knights. It's +2/+2 now for Max. Max has 1 relic, and Viper also with 1 relic right now. You still need the crossbows from Vilas to clean this one up, because the knights alone won't be satisfactory, but behind this one, you already have crossbows pushing the base of Vilas, and Vilas didn't notice this. That's -4 vills for Vilas over there, and what even is happening over here? He never finished his walls, or he overchopped them, but now it's disaster for Suomi. Just when they actually were getting close to turning this around, with all that army getting cleaned up, now it's Vilas' eco that's going to collapse. It's at 46 vills only. It very much seemed like he wanted to go to an early Imperial here, because he has stacked up a huge amount of food in the bank. So he probably wanted to go 1 TC Imp, but it's unthinkable for me how this is still open. I mean, he overchopped this wood line, but he was probably focusing on controlling his army so much that he never noticed that. Keep in mind, Vilas still has 43 crossbows, and it looks like we have a pause. So 43 crossbows. If you upgrade them to Arbs, they will destroy everything, so to say. However, that's a big, big, big if there. Suomi is behind by only 10 vills. So theoretically, if Vilas gets to like a 1TC imp, this could still work. It's a very, very risky call, but Suomi might need to take a gamble here, because otherwise they seem to be on the back foot. 3 TCs from the pocket players, 3 TC as well for Zupi, only 2 from TaToH. But military-wise, GL has a slight advantage over here. And look at this. Jordan is actually trickling in crossbows to try and pressure this gold mine from Zupi. Zupi's gonna have enough crossbows to hold them off though. Big scuffle could happen over here in the middle hills. Currently, Viper is sitting on 2 relics as well for Max. We have 1 more relic in here, and that's something that Viper will be able to pick up, I believe. Because that's like right next to TaToH's base. So this could be a 3 versus 2 relics. Vilas has clicked up. So in about 4 minutes, he's gonna have Arbalest with Bracer. That could be enough to swing the battle back in their favor. But if he loses this group of archers, this is game over. Because he's not gonna have the eco to rebuild them. It looks like we will have the big fight happening over here. Ethiopian faster firing orbs or crossbows now are actually going to be a massive advantage. Although I'm not sure if he has thumb ring or not. Cavalry is disappearing from the battlefield now, and this is a bad fight. This is a bad fight for Suomi here, and this might be over. Because, as I said, Blue, Vilas cannot afford to lose his crossbows here. The good news is that there is reinforcements coming in, and the Knights might be able to help out, but as I said, it's 20 crossbows now. This is exactly what you have to avoid, and this is dream scenario for GL. I'm not sure if GL noticed the score of Vilas drop, and just realized that, hey, Vilas might be going to Imperial, or what happened, but this is exactly what GL need to do here. Trade off armies before the upgrades come in. And Vilas will have still like 25 crossbows or sort orbs, but that's going to be insufficient, I would say. Max is going for 6 stables, but he can't make all of them work. And look at TaToH. TaToH is also imping. The difference is that TaToH's got 77 eco. He's gonna be a minute behind compared to Vilas, but Vilas only has 54 eco. And Zupi is nowhere close to imping. That's the main problem here, that even if Vilas reaches Imperial, he's got no tools to help the other side, Zupi. And Vikings are very devastating with Arbalest and Siege Ram, and TaToH might just play sort of a 1v1 here versus Zupi, although it doesn't seem like it's gonna matter, because as things stand, they're just already destroying the eco of Max over here. So that Arbalest and Siege Ram push may not even be a thing here. Now Vilas has Arbalest, that's totally true. But you see that Jordan is preparing Rams, and that's going to delay Vilas quite a bit. And it's all about that for GL. They just got to delay Vilas, they know that it's a 1TC, now there is a second town center up for Vilas, but his economy is still far from ideal. Whereas for TaToH, he's gonna have a real beef over here. Only 2 battering rams, but honestly, in this scenario, even 2 capped rams could be enough to start knocking on the doors here. TaToH is up to Imperial, which means that he's gonna have Arbalest and Bracer. With this hill advantage to pressure this gold mine, this is looking really grim for Suomi, and as I said, this is a very important game for them, because in the 1v1s I actually prefer GamerLegion. Which means that if Suomi loses this team game, then they could be down 3 games after the 1v1s. And we saw the same scenario for Vietnam Legends, we saw the same scenario for Heresy. The same way that GamerLegion defeated them in the previous rounds, it very much seems like the same fate could be hitting Suomi here. Now, this is not an ideal fight for Vilas either. He's got Orbs and Bracer, sure, but in exchange his opponent has the hill. Jordan trying to get this castle up. I think the castle goes up. He's gonna lose the majority of his army, although he can just jump into the castle with the rest of them. But still, this wasn't an ideal fight for Vilas, and if you look at the left side, this is what I was referencing to. We have Imperial Age coming in from all Suomi players. It looks like the only player that's not clicking up just yet is gonna be Jordan. The question is, can our Teal player hold out until Imperial Age kicks in? Because I don't think that that's gonna be the case. He's trying to go mangonels, he's trying to go for crossbows more. The castle's gonna go up, which is going to be buying some time for him, but remember that right now, Zupi actually has to evacuate his gold miners all the way over here, which is like wide open for raiding. And now Jordan can start making plumed archers, and when plumed archers start coming in, suddenly the Ethiopian crossbows or arbs will not really be a factor. And as I said, TaToH already has a bunch of rams in here. Could be soon siege rams if he has the food to get that. And that could just steamroll the base of Zupi here. And now it seems like they might be switching towards either Max or Vilas. They realize that this push sort of stalled out a little bit here because of the castle, and the Mangano should be able to take down the rams to protect the castle, so they might be going all the way towards the pocket. Imperial Age on the way as well for Jordan. GL already getting coinage, so we might have some slinging coming in here from TaToH. No trade being established by either side just yet, but there's a lot of mineable gold, so they might just delay that one. So now it is going to be Zupi's base, sort of leveled right now. Suomi is behind by 30 vills. That mostly comes from the fact that Vilas's vill count is still relatively low, and he's going for elite skirms, which is already a very bad sign in a 3v3. Cavalier and Plate Botting coming in for both pockets. Viper is at 3 relics, Max is at 2. So that's also an advantage for GL here, although Max has researched iron casting, so he's got +4 on his knights right now. Viper has 3 relics, but only forging, which means that he also has +4. But ultimately, when the players get all the upgrades, Viper is gonna have the advantage as well in terms of relic numbers, and also map control, which allows them to go for a lot of gold. This is a nice castle here from Zupi, securing a gold mine. TaToH wanted to take that gold, but that's not going to happen. We are soon going to have rams as well from Jordan though, and indeed, Vilas, I already see his name crossed out. They realize that, okay, all GL members are now up in Imperial, and like, they have the map control. It's somewhat surprising that Suomi tapped out in this moment, but they probably looked at the score and said, okay, that's gonna be rough. And GamerLegion takes game number 2 as well. Once again, I would say with relative ease. Like, for the overwhelming majority of the game, GamerLegion was leading. The last time that Suomi actually had a good momentum was with the Man-at-Arms openings, and that was like 25 minutes ago game time. So with that, Suomi loses the second consecutive game, and now we're heading to the 1v1s, which is gonna be even worse for Suomi, because now what are you doing? Like, Jordan should be better than Zupi, Viper should be better than Vilas, and TaToH should be better than Max, I would say. So I'm really unsure how Suomi is gonna be able to win the 1v1s, and this is why I was saying that this is a very important game for Suomi, because they're down 2 games, and it's very possible that the 1v1s won't favor them, which would push them down to a 3-0 scoreline and a match point for GL, and you never want to play when, like, it's always much harder to play a game when your opponent already has match point. So now we got yeah, let's look at the stats first before we go back to the lobby. Military-wise, once again, KD favoring GL by a massive margin. Economy-wise, you see that Vilas had a weak eco, but that is because he wanted to go for the early Imperial. But his eco wasn't that much earlier compared to TaToH, who just boomed up with Vikings and was able to get to Imperial. Like, see this? It's like a 40 seconds disadvantage, but in exchange, TaToH's ecos was like light years ahead compared to Vilas's eco. So that early Imperial from our blue player didn't actually pay off. And now, here is the 1v1 section. So I'm going to explain this over here for those that are new to the format. Basically, the way that this works is that you won't get points for winning a single, like, individual 1v1. You will get points for winning a best of... You will get 1 point, to be precise, for winning a 1v1 best of 3 over here. So basically, you have to win 2 out of the 3 games over here, like 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, to get 1 point. First, it is going to be Suomi choosing a map and a player, and GL will have a time to react. I wonder who Suomi is going to choose, because that's a big question right now. They could choose their strongest player, Vilas. In that case, I would say GL should just go for a player like Viper. As I said, individually, all GL members are probably stronger than their respective Suomi counterparts. So the strongest GL member is stronger than the strongest Suomi member. The second strongest GL member is probably stronger than the second strongest Suomi member, and so. And yeah, it looks like we don't have anyone in the lobby just yet. Let me open the casters Discord. They might be giving information there. So no information just yet on who's gonna play from either side. Viper versus Zupi, Jordan versus Willas, and Doubt versus Max. That's not possible because Doubt is not on this team. He's in GamerLegion B with Slam and Nilly, so it could only be TaToH. Yeah, for Suomi, the best is indeed that Viper versus Zupi, and then Jordan versus Villas is something that could favor Suomi, and then Max versus TaToH is a 50-50. Yeah, that might be the best for Suomi, but even then, it's going to be hard, I would say, because, yeah, I think that if Villas gets Jordan, he's got a good chance, although keep in mind that in the first game, Villas and Jordan played a 1v1 and Jordan just won, but that might be the best chance of Suomi. But even then, TaToH versus Max is something I would favor TaToH in, to be honest, and Suomi has to choose a player first, that's the bigger thing, so it is GamerLegion who's gonna have the chance to react to whatever Suomi is doing. So Suomi is gonna have to name a player that plays first, and the map. And it very much seems like from GL side, we're gonna have Jordan playing. If it's Jordan, then like, Suomi is the one that technically has to decide a player first, but GL might just say, okay, whatever, we're gonna have Jordan facing you regardless. That could be a very, very likely possibility. So, it looks like it's gonna be Jordan versus Max. Interesting. Jordan versus Max. Now, this is a matchup that could go either way, but I feel like Jordan is actually in a better shape than Max is currently. So, believe it or not, I'm actually favoring Jordan here, and this is a must-win for Suomi, because if they do it like this, then Zupi will be left for Viper or TaToH, which should favor GamerLegion by a massive margin. And the thing is that you have to win 2 out of the 3 games. If Jordan beats Max here, then you're probably gonna have either a Viper versus Villas and a TaToH versus Zupi, which should favor GamerLegion, or a Viper versus Zupi and TaToH versus Villas, which should also favor GamerLegion in the long run. And remember that in the next game, so game number 2 out of the best of 3 here, you would have GamerLegion choosing a player, which means that GamerLegion could just say, okay, Viper is gonna play, and then Suomi is going to have to face the strongest player of the opponent. We're going to a map called Sonora in this one, as Max and Jordan will be battling it out over here. On these 1v1 maps, you cannot choose any civilization. There is actual like civilizations for each of the maps that you can choose from. For Sonora, it is Aztecs, Mayans, Britons, Spanish, Lithuanians, Koreans, and the Khmer that can be chosen. And it seems like we're going to have a Mayans versus Lithuanians matchup, a very, very different setup or strategy choice from the players. So welcome to the first game in this best of 3 subset of this 1v1 over here. When Capture Age wakes up, we'll be able to jump into Sonora, a pretty popular map among the players in the tournament. It is one where you have a bunch of hills in the middle, quite a lot of gold with cracked terrain. We will have, on the left side, Jordan in blue representing GamerLegion, And on the south, it's going to be Max as Lithuanians for Suomi in red. 1v1 Sonora is actually very similar to Team Game Sonora, but obviously the importance of the gold in the middle is amplified, considering the fact that you can trade with your teammates. So this plays out a little bit like a Gold Rush style gameplay. Now, it looks like the deer is going to be pretty hard to push here for Max. It's kind of far away and it's blocked by a wood line, so it's not going to be an easy one to push in. He's playing Lithuanians, and I guess the idea behind Lithuanians here is that they have a bunch of relics in the middle that it's relatively easy to locate and pick up. I wouldn't even be surprised to see something like Max going and sending a Veil forward at some point and just walling these off like that, so he can secure the relics. I can see Max trying to do something like this. Whereas on the other side, considering that this map is relatively well defendable, this could be a Drush FC map for Jordan here. So, yeah, this is definitely a good situation, I would say, for Max, but it is definitely playable as well for Jordan. Jordan also has some very, very far out deer. You see that this deer is just going back. So, not an easy deer push for either side. The right and left sides of the map are actually very, very empty and only have wood lines. So the key thing is going to be where you wall, because you could actually use this little group of rocks to wall as well, or you could just go for the small walls around your base. Like, for Max, I would say something like wall here, and wall here could make quite a lot of sense. And then other side, wall here, and wall here would be very, very reasonable. It's an easy wall, it secures a lot of space for him. The only thing that it doesn't achieve is, as we have a very early Drush here. This is not a Lithuanian 2 militia Drush, but it's something that's still relatively fast compared to other civs. This is 13th will getting the Drush out. The question is, does Max know where Jordan is at? Because Max has been pushing deer for the majority of the game. I think he can predict that Jordan is somewhere around over here, but you're gonna have to hit that Drush early on. The other thing I don't like about this Drush over here is that Jordan already has Loon because he's Mayan, so it's not like he's gonna kill a lot of Wills. Jordan also goes for his own Drush in this one, and in that case, those will probably just cancel each other. If it's Drush from both sides, it's very possible that we're just going to see something like Drush Fast Castle from both players, and I'm somewhat surprised how Max is walling this. I don't like it, because archers could hit this gold mine now that this house is here, so could have been better to wall like this and this. But anyways, we're gonna have Jordan on the right side coming in with the Eagle, looking for his opponent, but he wasn't able to find him yet. As I said, I'm not really a fan of these walls. This could have been up to this wood line, so this goldman is a little bit more well protected. The other thing I would like to highlight with Drushing on this map, as that's a villager that could be picked off by Jordan. Jordan misses an opportunity over here. He just wants to scout. He sees the barracks, but he doesn't see the militias. The militias are moving up. It's only 2 militias right now from Max, though. And considering that he's dropping farms, he wants to go for a fast castle here. So, at this point, Max finds his opponent's base, sees the Drush as well. Actually gets quite a lot of damage done on his scout here. And, yeah, at this point... Oh, that's a so bad wall for Max. That's an awful wall. I really don't like how Max is walling this. Just a couple of archers could deny this gold mine. Now, good for him, his opponent is going for a Drush Fast Castle as well, so it's not like that's actually gonna be actively pressured. But these walls are something I really dislike for Max. It would have been a way smaller investment to wall here, and it's not like it's very, very far away, so you can only... Like, you don't need to go for a double layer wall because you don't have the chance to repair it. He could have just walled here, and he sees this wood line. And same thing here, he could have used this one, and maybe even this one. Could have been a lot simpler, and this way, he probably invests a little bit less wood into walling, and more importantly, he could have had a lot safer gold mines. Like, this one is actually exposed to archers, this one is also exposed to archers, and let's see if Max is going to be able to accomplish anything with that Drush. The other thing I would like to highlight is that First of all, you have outposts here, so it's relatively easy to spot a Drush coming. Number 2 is that these Mayan Veils already have Loom on them, and it's only 2 militias. So I feel like this Drush did not accomplish anything for Max, and you gotta wonder that on this map, considering how well volleyball this is, even a fast castle without a Drush could be legitimate, and that would actually get you an advantage. So I don't think that this Drush was necessary for Max. Same thing for Jordan, but Jordan at least sort of went for the Frey Militia opening, so he kind of keeps the window open for himself to do damage if his opponent is not walled by the time he arrives. Nonetheless, we're gonna have quite a lot of farming over here for Max, which is a bit surprising considering that he pushed in 2 of his deer. But anyways, this should be a standard 27 Veil Drush FC over here. His food count looks a little low, so I'm a bit concerned that he might not be able to pick up immediately. Whereas for Jordan, obviously longer lasting resources helps quite a bit. He only had 1 deer being pushed in and only 4 farms, which might be a little bit too low. Although, as I said, longer lasting resources could mean that it is just enough for him. So yeah, one thing that I could add to this one is that Drush FC is going to kind of make your eco very much stretched out. If you feel like it's going to be just fast castle combat or so from both sides, you can actually make an argument for just going up to feudal age, grabbing the eco upgrades, and then just booming into castle age. Your castle time won't be delayed by that much, especially if you do that like without a Drush. You will probably go up like a minute or so behind compared to the Drush FC player. But your economy is gonna be much stronger, so that could be an option on either side, especially on the side of Max with Lithuanians. Now, if you are Max, okay, this is a situation of mind games. Mayans love to play with archers, right? So, if you are Max, you probably go up with an archer range and start making skirms. He's going with a stable, which is I think the predictable option, but honestly, I think a range could have been legitimate from the perspective that you would actually fight against archers almost guaranteed. The main reason for going for a stable, I would believe, is because, yes, if he goes for skirms, he's gonna be able to hold off early archers. However, his opponent could also go for a fast castle like straight eagle play. Because if Jordan believes that his opponent is going straight skirms to proactively counter his future archers, he could say, hey, I can go Market Blacksmith Castle Age and just go for eagles right away. It looks like the players will be playing it in a predictable way, so we're gonna have archers from Jordan. I don't necessarily like that he's showing this archer, to be honest. Because, yeah, at this point, that house, it could be repaired as well. But the fact that he shows the archer tells Max, hey, I'm going archers. And this is very valuable information for Max. Who still has his scout, by the way, but you see that Jordan was sort of hiding this archer range, so I feel like he shouldn't have shown that archer just yet, even though that's the predictable way of playing this one. A market now coming in here for Max, alongside a blacksmith, interestingly. So, not sure what he's up to. He might actually sell some stone so that he can afford to pick up relics, like go for a monastery early on and go for a couple of relics. Because I would assume that the next step for Max is going to be just get an early monastery, get some knights out. The early knights, even with +1 defense, should be able to fight off a handful of crossbows that probably won't have Bodkin arrow when they arrive to Castle Age. So, yeah, I think that Max should be in a good position to secure map control with knights and then just start picking up the relics. So if you're Jordan, you probably want to think about just trying to deny those relics as much as possible. So, more archers are on the way for Jordan, but you see that he's only at 4. He will probably be able to squeeze out crossbow and Bodkin, but his gold count is going to be a little too low for that. And now he's going to get... He should get Bodkin once he has the food for it. Still, as I said, the early knights will be a lot more powerful over here. You got +1 defense, bloodlines, and only a couple of archers here for Jordan, so these will get intercepted even without the crossbowman upgrade, and that is -2 archers over there for Jordan. I like this situation more for Max, honestly, because Max's early Castle Age power spike is much bigger with the knights. He could go for the relics, pick them up, and then what the next step could be for Max is sort of a Huang style gameplay. Just go for a forward siege workshop and go like knight and siege. That could be a very, very devastating push here, because you don't really want to get Mayans into Imperial, because that's where they will become very, very dangerous with the Eldorado Eagles, the Plumed Archers, Siege Rams potentially. So you probably want to play this one a little bit more aggressively if you are Max. Max still has his scout alive over here. The Eagle for Jordan is still alive as well, which means that he could try sniping monks. And the main question is Max going to go for the faraway relics and try to pick as many of them up as possible, or he wants to go for guaranteed ones? The answer is that he's going for guaranteed ones. Right now, it looks like a monk is coming in here from Jordan. Look at Jordan just blocking the path of those knights, and the knights will still get the kill though, which means that now these crossbows could be forced back, and Max buys himself some time in picking up that relic. Still, this should go into the hands of Jordan. But at this point, if Max gets the 4 additional relics over here, like he already has 1, 2, 3, and 4, should be easily pickable for him. It should be a decent situation for him still. He's gonna have to withdraw with the knights because there's a monk trying to get some conversions in. As the Eagle is still denying this relic over here. It's a little bit sloppy from Max that he didn't send a single unit to check that out. He could lose a monk there if he's not paying attention. He also brings back a knight for some healing as he grabbed forging to have a little bit more damage output against the monks, the crossbows. And so Jordan actually drops the relic over here and tries to get a conversion with that monk. He actually gets the conversion. This might have been an overextension here from Max, because Max is not gonna be able to kill that monk, and he just lost 3 knights over here, one of them being converted. I feel like that was a massive overextension. Relic number 2 is on the way in, but I feel like Jordan is gonna have an easy time picking this one up. He can just send the monk out here and that's gonna be good. And I feel like the crossbows and the monks here might be enough for Jordan to just ensure that his opponent might not have the chance to pick this up. So Max's plan could fall apart here because Max might be capped at 2 relics here. He's going for a Siege Workshop and Scorpions, but at this point, I feel like if Jordan actually grabs that relic, and he's getting very, very close to doing that, then Max might be stuck at 2, which obviously is far from ideal with Lithuanians. Now, it's quite a decent amount of knights. They do have iron casting, but no +4 or +2 defense, which means that they're actually fairly vulnerable to those crossbows, even though the knight numbers are fairly decent now. And there are monks back healing them. If you're Jordan, you might even try to steal this relic and go this way, and not just run through the middle, because you see that Max is going in here. It might be better for Jordan to just take this relic and start running to the right side. Scorpion now out as well for Max, trying to take the monks. And it looks like Max is just gonna try and get some conversions on the crossbows, but once again, it's 1 knight converted from our red player. The monk is still alive here for Jordan, and look at that, the Scorpion goes down. This is a disaster for Jordan. Oh, he doesn't have iron casting, true. That's totally true. He doesn't have iron casting, he's got the relics. Regardless, the TC goes up here for Max, but is that satisfactory? Remember that Jordan was free TCs for a while now, and guess what? That relic is gone, and that relic is gonna be gone as well. So everything seems to be working so well for Jordan, and as I said, if Max loses this one, we will have Viper and TaToH left versus Viles and Zupi. And while Viles could technically beat either of the GL members, I would favor GL over Viles. And I would favor both GL members by massive margin against Zupi. And keep in mind that the next game, it is GL choosing the player first. So GL could just say, okay, we're gonna have Viper, and then Suomi can decide if Viles or... What is this monk up to? This monk is just hiding that relic in here under the rock. That monk actually has a relic in his hand. I'm not sure why he's not running back home. Maybe he wants to run back home here and oh, look at this. I like this game plan from Jordan as well. Mayans love their plumed archers, and a castle in the middle like this will pretty much ensure that this part of the gold and this part of the gold falls into the hands of Jordan, whereas he will be able to contest all the gold in the middle, and the right side could still be under the hands, or in the hands of Max in this case. Still, I love this castle position over here, and Jordan is 10 on stone still, so he won't stop with one castle. He's gonna have a second one here, and he will potentially just try to get a second castle drop in here, and just try to make sure that his opponent isn't able to access gold. Knights will come in for a raid now, so Jordan's gotta be careful because his reinforcements might open the gate. And okay, now that is a massive issue for Jordan, because it is only a 7 wheels lead right now for him, but he's gonna have to scramble for a defense here, and those knights do have good damage output here. It's minus 3 wheels already for Jordan, and his army is very much caught off position. He's gonna have to bring all of those back. Tries to make probably the worst quick wall ever, just a random wall in here right next to the farms. And now the Eco KD is going up in the skies. Max is stomping those wheels, and the situation was very, very good for Jordan here for a while, but that could disappear really soon here. Because now, Max actually has the wheel advantage. The good news for Jordan is that while he lost 10 wheels, and it's obviously far from ideal, the good news is that he's gonna have a crossbow force that could counterattack the base of his opponent. He doesn't have ballistics, so the kill potential on those crossbows is a little bit underwhelming, but if he's able to keep the villager numbers even, he should still be good to go. Because, as I said, now Max has an overchop on his wood line, and while Max has a siege workshop back at home, he doesn't actually have anything to defend his base with. If these crossbows had ballistics, this would be even more devastating, but that house is very low HP, and I consider this army a little bit more dangerous than what Max sent into the base of Jordan here. So, right now, there is going to be a Mangonel coming in. Jordan still needs to be careful, but keep in mind that Jordan's resources are getting better and better, and he could start thinking about dropping a second castle somewhere, or potentially buying himself up to Imperial. Because if he gets to Imperial, he's gonna be able to go for just 1 or 2 traps and take that TC down, and meanwhile, I don't think that Max is actually close to imping here, especially now that his farming eco is gonna be idle, and this is gonna be a pain to clean up. You're gonna be chasing with a Mangonel. It looks like Jordan will disengage, but he already forced the mass migration from Max in this one, and while Max was focused on defending against this one, a second castle will come in here from Jordan to deny that gold mine. After all, Jordan ends up killing just 2 wheels from his opponent, and he could be in danger of losing this army over here. Oh, beautiful ground attack there from Max. Monks going down in quick succession, as we're gonna have a somewhat underwhelming split over here from Jordan, as now he jukes away from the shots. I mean, he still wins this fight and he can run away, as we're gonna have Imperial Age coming in here from Jordan. The problem for Max is that he is nowhere close to Imperial, and as I said, this castle is gonna go up. Jordan will start getting towards plumed archers, and gold income is gonna be a concern for Max soon, because his gold mines back at home are starting to run dry. He still has a couple thousand, but it's not like he has all the time in the world left to secure the middle. And at this point, Jordan still has 6 on stone, so he could just keep dropping additional castles. I would love to see a couple of rams as well from Max here. And it seemed like Jordan will start stonewalling the sides. So the idea here is that he just wants to force all the engagements in the middle where he already has map control. As keep in mind that these buildings are built on cracked terrain, and buildings on cracked terrain take more damage. So you see that this DC is actually going down very, very rapidly. A castle will be attempted here by Max, but as I said, his imp time is gonna be like 2 or 3 minutes away from his opponent, and we're going to have Jordan teching into Halberdier here, I believe, with the scale mail on the way. Max, if he has a market, he could buy himself up, but I think he needs another building. No, he doesn't need another building. Max could easily buy himself up. What is Max doing? Max is probably microing his scorpions over here, and that's why he wasn't paying attention to this, but Max has a siege workshop and a monastery. He could have bought himself up like 2 minutes ago. And he didn't. he's still floating 1,000 gold. That gold, maybe he didn't want to use his gold to buy himself up because he felt like he's not gonna have a huge amount of gold in the long run. But I feel like the best way to secure gold for himself right now is to get Imperial, get Krebs, and take those castles down. Which is probably not gonna happen because I could even see a GG happening here from the Max if Jordan reaches Imperial. Because at this point, Max is guaranteed to lose that castle. And indeed, here's the GG. So, in this 1v1, Jordan takes the first game over here, pretty much outplaying Max in every single way. So, you see that right now, Jordan actually is a negative KD, but that mostly came from this Will KD. The only mistake that Jordan made was the villager kill death ratio. Everything else worked out so well for him. The ability to grab 3 relics as opposed to 2, dropping the castle in the middle, transitioning into a free TC boom, just played out so well for him. And now, we're going to add it as a comment, so to say. 1v1s. 1v1s, hello? Is a 1-0 scoreline for GamerLegion over here. And if the next GL member wins the upcoming game, then we have a 3-0 scoreline overall. So, yeah, at this point, we're gonna have GL choosing who is going to play in the next game. And if I was GL, I would just say, okay, Viper. And I'm gonna have my best player out there to see who they actually match up with him. For Suomi, it has to be Vilas, because I don't think that Zupi's got a reasonable shot against either TaToH or Viper, but more importantly, especially if GL chooses Viper, I feel like you gotta pick Vilas and hope that you can somehow upset Viper with Vilas, which could be possible, and then it's gonna be in the hands of Zupi or potentially Rubenstock in a final one to deal with the TaToH, which seems like a very rough scenario as well for Suomi. So this is looking grim, and this is the exact way that GamerLegion just defeated Heresy, Vietnam Legends. All of these strong team game teams seem to have trouble against GamerLegion because GamerLegion is also acting very good as a team, but their individual skills are up there as well. And the combination of the two is sort of a very lethal combo. So now the main question is who's gonna play for GL? Let me open up the caster Discord to see if there is any information on that just yet. Suomi in a tough spot, I have to say, because if they win or if they lose this next 1v1, then the situation is that they will be in a match point situation with the team games coming in. I was hoping that we can get to at least game number 6, because PAG is a map I would love to see these two teams play on. But as things stand, that seems somewhat unlikely, let's just say that. So, GamerLegion is the one selecting the map, GamerLegion is the one selecting the player that plays. And yeah, that's basically it. The options for the maps are basically all but the map that Suomi has selected. So we still have about, I think, 13 or so maps that GamerLegion can select from. In terms of map styles, I would dare to say that something like, you know, a more open and aggressive map could be something that favors GamerLegion. So I would think about something like that, or something very crazy where GamerLegion has a good plan at. It looks like TaToH is gonna be playing versus Vilas, and they're already starting the game, so I would like to give a quick shout out to the players. for not wasting a lot of time and going into the next games. The map is going to be called Jalapao, and we will have an Aztecs versus Mayans matchup over here. The possible civilizations for Jalapao were Aztecs, Mayans, Incas, Spanish, Portuguese, Sicilians, and Italians. So basically, Mediterranean civilizations plus the Mesoamerican civilizations were available. We're gonna have a good old-fashioned Aztecs versus Mayans setup. In 6 seconds, the countdown is gonna be gone, and we will jump into the next game over here. And we should be all good to go. So, welcome to Jalapao, and it looks like it's the same map that they played in the first game. So, GamerLegion comes back in this one. TaToH, the master of demo ships, he felt really good playing the first game. We're going to have TaToH on the left side as Red Aztecs, and on the right side we're going to have Mayans as well as in blue. In this case, I don't think that demos will be of that big importance. We could have seen something like Portuguese here for potentially more aggressive water play, but Aztecs versus Mayans might be the two best 1v1 civilizations in the game, or at least many think so. Both of them insanely strong, and it is going to be the good old-fashioned Eagle Warrior play once we get to Castle Age. So here's the deal. I would assume that the players will now drop docks for fishing because they probably both realize that it's actually going to be a valuable source of food income. And after that, most likely, Men at Arms opening is a possibility from the Aztec player, maybe a Drosh from the Mayans player, or just straight archers from both sides could work out. One thing that's going to be interesting to look at is how the players actually wall their own starting bases. The reason why is because you don't really want to get your archers out here in this water region, because that could be a place where your opponent can demo snipe all of them. So you probably want your army around here and just walk around or so. Or alternatively, you cross here. But the idea is that you might not have a lot of defensive forces back at home, so you probably want to do some sort of walling, but that's going to be pretty hard to accomplish overall. We're going to have a wood line coming in already for Villas. He's sending wheels one by one, but he's got looms, so he has nothing to be afraid of. Whereas on the other side, we have no loom just yet for TaToH, so he actually sends a group of free wheels right now to drop a lumber camp in the middle. TaToH is actually focusing quite heavily on pushing in deer as well. Considering that sheep cannot be lamed, this sort of encourages deer pushing as well, because it's not like your opponent is going to take away these two llamas that you start with over here. You can just wait a little bit and pick them up later on. Regardless, on the other side, we're gonna have the board come in for Villes, and he's 4 on wood right now, so no 5th wheel on wood. There is a 5th wheel coming on the wood line for TaToH, so I am fairly certain we're going to see a dock coming in here for our red player. What else do we have? We have 5 on wood now, so it's gonna be a dock as well for Villas. He already picked up all of his llamas. It's worth pointing out that all of his stone, or at least the majority of it, is on the left side of his base. In general, a lot of his minerals are grouped up, so should he lose this part of his base, he could be in trouble in terms of gold and stone income. He has some on the right side as well, but they are kind of far away. Second boar coming in here now for TaToH. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but he used the llamas to block the boar, which means that his wheel didn't take a lot of damage at the end of the day. And this feels like a Drush timing over here from TaToH. With that barracks, will be scouted by Villas most likely. So he should know that there is going to be a Drush coming his way. And indeed, here it comes. Is Villas going to see that barracks? Yes, he will. So he knows it's coming. And it's going to be what appears to be a premier Drush from Villas, who ends up not going for docks here. That also doesn't go for a dock here, so it looks like both players will end up going for the berries after all. Although it seems like TaToH hasn't made up his mind just yet. He's going very, very heavy on the hunt right now. And now he's going for the fishing. So it looks like he ends up going for a fish, but he didn't have the wood to drop that dog just yet. He's 5 on wood, but yet to go for a barracks. So this actually stretches out your eco really heavily. That's why he's sort of late with this dog. Still, I like this game plan a little bit better from TaToH. He's got even a defensive sea tower over here that helps hold a defensive position against like a Drush or so. We had an attempt from TaToH to try and get some damage done on this wheel, but that didn't really happen. It looks like Vilas will also go for the dog here after all, but he started out with the berries, and the Drushes apparently will meet in the middle, with the TaToH taking a significant portion of the damage. So at this point, I feel like TaToH's Drush here won't really be able to accomplish much anymore, like half of their HP is gone, and now TaToH, it looks like he's just gonna go back on the defensive, understanding that attack-wise, he probably won't be able to accomplish much, and you're just gonna have the Drushes canceling each other over here. Vilas actually wins this fight by a decisive margin, so now he can try to pick off TaToH's Eagle, which could actually be a very, very good source of information for both players. It looks like we'll have a Drush into Archers play from both players, but at this pace, this might end up being a Drush FC even. If you think about it, the main bottleneck when it comes to a Drush Fast Castle is that you don't really have the food needed. But this map provides you with a bunch of very, very fast and reliable food income in the form of shorefish, which... Oh, the trap from TaToH. Look at that trap. And he actually made 2 more brand new militias here to chase down the opponent's Drush. So he really wants to get something done with those. So as I said, in this map, a Drushfest castle might be pulled off relatively easily, and it looks like that's going to be the case for TaToH, because you have the deer still, but you also have a bunch of shorefish. And while TaToH is slowly running out of llamas, the shorefish might still be able to give him the food he needs for a fast castle, and it looks like Vilas is going to think about the same thing as well. 28 villas at Mayans is standard, or relatively standard timing. For him, he adds a couple of farms. I am unsure if he actually needs those farms. He could just send out a couple more villas to shorefish, and he could be good to go. Still, longer lasting resources, and the fact that, you know, shorefish is available could help quite a bit. There is one more militia in here for Vilas, so he actually added one more just for security reasons, making sure that he's not going to lose his berries to a Drush from his opponent. At this point, TaToH's food count is looking better and better. Same thing for Vilas. I am like 95% sure Vilas is gonna have enough food to click up immediately to the castle. TaToH's gonna be a little bit tighter, but he could technically send some more villas to the berries here, and he should be fine. He's also a little bit low on wood, so he might have some trouble getting that range up. In this one, quick was coming in here for Vilas, making sure that those berry villas are safe, and now Vilas traps TaToH's Drush in here. TaToH will most likely just fight this one flat out and continue onwards. TaToH's Eagle is still heavily damaged though, and he needs to make sure he doesn't lose them. Blacksmith coming in here, and the other building is going to be a range as predicted. No surprise about that one. TaToH's going to reach Castle Age at a comparable time, and he will probably go range and blacksmith as well. Look at this from Vilas. This is smart. This is very smart. He tries to pick off the eagle of the opponent, and he will be successful doing so. And that means that TaToH's scouting is going to be very limited now, because those militias are not amazing at scouting. Some more houses coming in here for TaToH. He'll most likely try to vote to the water and just have a demo around just to make sure that units cannot just run past here. And aha, this is what I was thinking about here. This is something I mentioned in the previous game about the mind games. Drush fast castles are usually going for archers. By the way, there is a hole here on Vilas's wood line, something he didn't notice. So in this case, TaToH could go for a second barracks and just go straight eagles. And it very much seems like Vilas is gonna go for crossbows, but I like the eagle play a lot more. Mesosivs always want to get to Eagles. Obviously, TaToH's eco is gonna be a little bit more stretched out because of this, because he had to go for, like, Market, Blacksmith, and a second barracks as well, but he's gonna have time to mass the Eagles. I could even say that he could sell his stone and go for a third barracks and just go for a super aggressive Eagle play. The map is very open here in the outside, so chances are his opponent is gonna be open for raiding, which means that you could actually commit to like a triple barracks Eagle play. And that would be very aggressive, but it could pay off on such a map like this one. Archers are now slowly trickling in. The Eagles are still missing a lot of upgrades, so Squires are missing, Scale Mail is missing, but I think Viles might be realizing that, oh shoot, my opponent is going for Eagles, but what is he gonna do against it? He even committed to 2 ranges, so it's not like Viles has the chance to tech switch easily into something that beats Eagles, or just go for his own Eagles by himself. This is going to be a mind game that was won by TaToH, I believe, and he's just waiting for the opportunity to strike on those archers with the demo. He doesn't want to let them cross this river. He's waiting. TaToH is waiting patiently over here until Viles doesn't pay attention, and Viles apparently is focusing on these still. Still, TaToH's going to just try to slow this down. It looks like TaToH's gonna play second TC Defensive Siege Workshop. He won't commit everything to the Eagle play. In fact, he wants to play a relatively greedy game here. Not sort of all-in like. In fact, he's gonna play very eco-heavy, which could be a good situation for Viles, because that buys himself some time to, you know, just rally his forces and potentially afford an easier tech switch. Anyways, Siege Workshop is up for TaToH. He's gonna have his gold mine protected, and he can get a Scorpion out soon to deal with those archers. It looks like the Eagles are now heading towards the base of Viles here. Viles is a TC on the wood line, but not a lot of defense back at home. Now the good news for Viles is that those Eagles don't really have good upgrades, so no Squires, no +2 defense. Crossbows could hold them off nice and easily. Crossbow's now heading towards the wood line, but TaToH is gonna have a TC up there, and with this TC, this defensive tower and the presence of the dock and the threat of demos, I don't think that the Viles will be able to pressure this wood line at all. Ego is now trying to run in here, as the gate is gonna block their path. Still, as I said, these Eagles are horribly under-upgraded in here, so I wonder if TaToH just wants to like flat out boom. Because, you see, he's not adding any more Eagles, he's not grabbing upgrades. It seems like he just wants to sort of threaten Viles here with the potential of Eagles, but then just go and boom behind this one. However, I feel like he's giving a chance for Viles to react to the Eagle play. If he went for a triple barracks Eagles right now, he could have potentially gone for a very aggressive play and just overrun his opponent with +2 defense Eagle Warriors. And in this situation right now, you see that Viles actually has a free Wills lead here. And now you're gonna have TaToH starting to buy food over here to make sure that he can consistently produce Wills. He's still going to be free TCs, but so is his opponent, so the boom no longer matters that much for TaToH. I just don't like his game plan here. The Eagle opening was very smart, but after that, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the fact that he didn't actually use the element of surprise, because that Eagle play could have been sort of an element of surprise style play, that my opponent was going crossbows and boom, I show up with 10 Eagle Warriors, and suddenly, on such an open map, I can just run in here and start killing Wills and potentially finish the game. It looks like Viles will be sneaking all the way around here. No villagers have been killed so far in this game, so this game was relatively peaceful. And TaToH's gonna go for the early monasteries over here in an effort to pick up some of the relics. He has 3 on his side, so that should be relatively easy to pick up. And TaToH, he's going to see the crossbows. So he's gonna have to react to this one. He pulls the Wills here, deletes the farm as well. So nice reaction over there. And the Scorpions will now come to the other side. Still, Viles is actually pulling up quite a lot of crossbows now, so TaToH's greedy play here may not work out. And the main reason why it may not work out is because it's not like he's actually outbooming his opponent. It's still 55 years versus 52. TaToH slowly increasing his lead, but in exchange he's got no military, and that's what TaToH was thinking about. That's what TaToH was thinking about. He wants a sneaky forward base here for Eagles, but guess what? He encounters two of these tigers, and he needs to quick wall his villain here. So the thing is that there is some aesthetics tigers over here on these sides that are just there to, you know, look nice right next to that destroyed cart, and that's not something that TaToH was paying attention to. And because of that, he almost lost that forward will. And that was a very important forward will, because I assume that that's the game plan for TaToH. As we're gonna have crossbows coming in here, TaToH's gonna have to evacuate his wood line. The Scorpions are doing a decent job keeping those crossbows away for the time being. And for now, TaToH's gonna have to wait over here. He needs to delete this policide and make a barracks here if he actually wants to move forward. Or send an eagle to clean up those tigers over there. A monk was picked off by the crossbows here, so TaToH's gonna have to make a new one to keep picking up relics. And that's the eagle I was talking about. This eagle is going here to clean up the tigers. And then I guess, as I said, the idea is that you go for a forward base play here. Ecos are still very, very close for two players, but as I said, this actually favors Viles here, who is slowly but surely increasing his crossbow numbers, and more importantly, he's working towards a castle. And honestly, if TaToH's playing this passive and you're Viles with the army numbers, you drop a castle here. And you're like, okay, whatever, you can play defensive, but I'm just gonna drop a castle in your face. And you see that Viles is most likely going to beat TaToH to Imperial as well, because Mayans just have so cheap army that you can preserve most of your resources. And I feel like TaToH could be beaten to Imperial, get castle dropped, and just get flat out outnumbered in army numbers. I really don't like the game plan here for TaToH. He's also going for stone heavily, so it very much seems like we might see a castle from him at some point, and that's Siege Workshop. Interesting, now he's stacking into Eagle Warrior, but this is way too late. This is super duper late. Unless he wants to click into Imperial right now, but then I don't understand why he's stacking into this one right now. I feel like TaToH's game plan here is just bad. It's just flat out bad. I don't understand what he gets from a couple of Eagle Warriors now. He now tries to go for a Mangonel push, but this is once again too late. His opponent is probably gonna have enough stone to drop a defensive castle very fast. He already has plumed archers to work with. And Imperial Age on the way for our blue player. TaToH's not gonna be far away from Imp, but like, if he didn't start making Eagles right now, he would actually have a good chance of getting into Imperial at a comparable time to his opponent. He probably had to make some Eagles to defend against this one, but I struggle to see why he didn't go for Eagles earlier. Now, here comes a Mangonel, and this could be a nice way to retaliate against his opponent, but I just feel like it took so much time to prepare this sneaky play that I'm not sure if this is really going to have a massive impact in here, because by now there is going to be a defensive castle up for Viles on the right, which secures that stone for him. So even if he loses this stone mine, the other one is going to be accessible, and the other gold mines will also be safe in this one. TaToH's still not going up to Imperials. He's going to get beaten by like, what, 2 minutes. And plumed archers will eat eagles, especially Imperial Age plumed archers. There is one chance for TaToH though here. Look at Viles' army numbers. Viles is down to 4 army. And this is the situation where TaToH could still potentially prevail with a flood of eagles. Viles makes his own eagle to try and snipe down the Mangonel, and it very much seems like he might be successful with that. Nope, that's not gonna happen. But this will secure the castle here for Viles. Over here goes for Tumbling, so he will just play plumed archers. TaToH was most likely gonna play full eagles now. That's his only shot, so to say. Atlatl skirms might actually work here for TaToH, but it would take quite a lot of time to tech into. The good news for TaToH is that even though Viles will beat him to Imperial, Viles won't have a huge army. We'll be talking about like 10-15 plumed archers at maximum, which is still scary, but it's not like TaToH will be that much behind in terms of numbers, and TaToH's actually gonna make a dock here. Oh, I'm starting to see what TaToH wants to do. TaToH might actually go for like a lot of ships here, and TaToH might try to cut off this part of Vilas' base from the rest. Atlatl skirms versus Hulcha skirms, who wins? Hulcha by far. Hulcha actually gets like a combat bonus. Atlatl only gives them range. In theory, if you perfectly micro your Atlatl skirms, the Hulcha Javeliniers can't actually hit you, but that's not really the case in like practical scenarios. That's one mangonel down, bit of a miss micro from TaToH, make it 2. So like in 95% of the cases, Hulcha Javelinier skirms wins. So it looks like we're gonna have defensive towers coming in here from Vilas. That's something that you will have to start considering as well. Towers in the middle to potentially deny the opponent from additional resources. And what is TaToH up to? He is going for docks and stone walls. These stone walls might come up just in time to potentially prevent the plumes from running past. And here's the deal. If you have a dock here with a flag on it and stone walls here, the plumes will never risk running through here, because they will just be destroyed by damos. TaToH is not making a single damo just now, though. He's up to Imperial, he's got a castle for Garland Wars, and he is going for Elite Eagle first, then +4 defense. This villager is going to be intercepted here. Vilas wanted to see what TaToH is doing, but I think it's fairly obvious. It's just going to be Eagles. Was not up in time though, and that means the plumed archers will run past. Could actually cause quite a lot of chaos inside TaToH's base, although I don't think that they actually know about the castle, so they might run into that. More importantly though, the wood line of TaToH could be exposed. Eagles now come in here, still missing +4 defense. The plumed archers do have bracer chemistry and +2 defense themselves, but Eagles will get a good surround here. At this point, Vilas actually ends this with a free will kill scenario, and now it's more stone walls coming in here for TaToH. He just wants to sort of play some with damos and eagles, so to say. Looking at relics, it's 2 for each player, as we have some more plumed archers. One thing to consider is that the plumed archer production is much harder for Vilas, even though they actually train rather fast once you have conscription in Imperial. But still, TaToH could potentially flood his opponent here with more eagles. But eagles will always be forced to chase. Now they do have elite as well, and we have a bit of a demo over here from TaToH. But those are not demo ships, so they don't have a massive blast radius or so, and TaToH's gonna sneak a couple of wheels past. And more importantly, as I said, eagles are much better raiding units than plumed archers are, because eagles can afford to run past castles much easier than plumed archers can. And I am starting to feel like, as I said, TaToH's military production should be better, because he can just flood the eagles with the faster working barracks from like 15 barracks, whereas his opponent can only make plumed archers on castles. And plumes in good numbers actually eat eagle warriors once you have all upgrades for plumed archers. The problem is surviving until you actually get that, and we're gonna have some rams coming in as well from TaToH. Heavy demo on the way for Vilas over here, and that means that Vilas is also thinking about some demo plays himself in the middle. Everything is still peaceful. TaToH is at 36 eagles. He doesn't really want to let his opponent get to good plumed archer numbers though. One thing, however, is that TaToH doesn't have good upgrades on those eagles. I mean, Elite Eagle and +4 is in, but no Garland Wars, no, not even Forging, and damage output for eagles actually matters quite a bit, because you need to get as much damage as possible per hit, otherwise the plumes will just keep running away from you in this one. That's going to be castle number 4 on the way for Vilas. 4 wills from TaToH will get picked off, but they got 2 siege workshops up here, and the name of the game for TaToH is destroying castles. If he can actually start destroying castles, that could be very devastating for Vilas. And now Vilas will actually try to do the same thing that TaToH did in the previous games. Go for his own demos. Those are heavy demos already, so they actually pack a significant punch. Demos on the way for TaToH as well, as Vilas is trying to clean up the north. TaToH does have a couple of forward barracks over here as well, but he's not producing anything on it. As where is TaToH's army at? Most of it is here on the north, not really doing much. And right now he's just waiting for more demos to come in. the rams pop out and they will eventually be destroyed. Like, you can send 2 wheels to destroy those. TaToH was waiting for the upgrades before fighting this, by the way. In case you're wondering why he's not fighting anything, he's waiting for iron casting. He's still missing Garland Wars, Blast Furnace, and he might be waiting for the opportunity to get a good demo hit in here as well. Look at this. He's just securing like majority map control. Soon this map could turn into a wood control game, something that TaToH is so good at. We saw that at the Deathmatch World Cup, and TaToH detaches a couple of Eagles to try and get the snipe on the demos. That was beautiful from TaToH. That was beautiful. He traded 4 Eagles to 2 demos, which is a very, very satisfactory trade overall. And I think TaToH was just waiting for the opportunity to strike from the north. I saw some Eagles on the left side, I'm not sure where they went. TaToH was at 36 Eagles, Blast Furnace now coming in here. Garland Wars are still missing, but that's gonna be a lot of Eagles, and now we're getting closer and closer to little skirms here. TaToH could pop out a demo and sink some of those. This is the moment for TaToH to strike, but it looks like Vilas was just baiting his opponent in here. These rams will once again be wasted here, I believe, unless TaToH decides to take this fight. He might actually have to try taking this fight, because he could potentially decide this, but that's 67 plumed archers already. And this is what I was talking about. 67 plumes actually beat Eagles because they fire so fast. This is once again a bad play here from TaToH. I feel like you don't want to allow Mayans to get like huge amount of plumed archers, because look at this. TaToH is just going to lose all his rams over here, although it looks like he's going to pop out the rams and take down the opponent's ones, but he is still not fighting this one right now. Onager on the way. I wonder if he's actually trying to get a mangonel out here and just go for onagers. That's still quite a lot of rams indeed, and they could start pushing up against the castle. But now, Vilas can tech into Eagles himself, and Mayan Eldorado Eagles are no joke either. It looks like Vilas will run into the castle fire over here though, so TaToH is going to be able to take down those reinforcements relatively easily. But look at this push. Rams are now knocking on the walls of TaToH, as I feel like TaToH was playing this game way too passively the entire game. This ram is gonna go down relatively easily. Onager is out here as well. The demos pop out because the dock is now on fire, and let's see what these demos can do. They take some plumes down, but I wouldn't call these very, very promising hits overall. And as I said, a bunch of rams were wasted here. You can just send a couple of Veils if you are Vilas and just take those down. So they needed some sort of support. I feel like TaToH tried to sneak on the left, sneak on the right, but he didn't commit to either of those. And as I said, I just feel like he played very, very passive in general. He's at 33 army as opposed to 73, and most of those are plumed archers. This is a nice fight over here from TaToH, as Vilas is trying to bait him to go on the water, but I feel like Vilas has a chance to even this out. And I'm not gonna lie, Vilas is playing very standard here. I'm not even saying he's playing amazing, but TaToH is playing this game way too passive. You can't allow Mayans to go up to like 6-7 castles and like 60 plumed archers. That's not a thing. TaToH played overly passive in this game, and that's gonna have its effect, because right now I think Vilas has a massive lead. So now TaToH is gonna be forced to defend. He's only at 23 Eagles, trying to tech into Atlatl skirms, by the way, but I just feel like there's no momentum here for TaToH. Double the army for Vilas, he's getting hoardings on his castles. TaToH might be thinking about an Onager cut though, and an Onager cut could potentially swing the battle back in his favor, because he could potentially like annihilate 50 villas or so. He's got the Onagers. Those could be some nice Onager shots, and it's gonna be very hard for Vilas to micro those plumes against those. And TaToH is a very, very resilient player. I just don't see the momentum for him. You see, he's losing a castle here. He doesn't have the time to react to that. And the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm seeing Vilas all over the place. And those skirmishers are still sort of underwhelming here for TaToH. TaToH still has a huge amount of gold, but he's playing for a long game, sitting at 2 relics with Aztecs right now, and here's the Onager cut I was referencing. Now, this could be very devastating for Vilas's economy. The question is how devastating it is, because you are guaranteed to lose a lot of Eagles here, and I just don't think that this is going to be devastating enough. Now, yeah, indeed. I'm not gonna lie, this was like a 0 out of 10 game plan from TaToH here. Like, every single thing he did after hitting Castle Age was awful. I don't understand why he went for the second barracks and Eagles if he wanted to go for a free TC boom. I don't know why he actually wanted to enter a free TC boom here versus Villas. He could have gone for a lot more aggressive play. If he goes, sells his stone with the market, goes for triple barracks Eagles, he guaranteed wins the game. Villas wouldn't have had the tools to defend his gold mines. Villas was like a 10 crossbows, and he would have been up against 10 Eagles with +2 defense. And from that point on, TaToH can just send in the Eagles and keep pressuring the eco. TaToH allowed his opponent to go for a full boom, and this is always a tricky scenario because you would think that Eagles beat Plumed Archers, but that's not the case. Once you have like 40-50 Plumed Archers, Plumes eat Eagles very easily because they fire very fast, and even though they deal like, what, 1 damage per hit, it doesn't matter because you have 50 of them and they fire really fast, so they will still do very well against Eagle Warriors. TaToH just allowed his opponent to boom up. The push here on the left was underwhelming. The right side, bunch of rams were wasted there. I just feel like TaToH didn't really know what he actually wants to do with this game. And I feel like he just should have gone for a much more aggressive Castle Age here. With that, Villas did what he had to, but I feel like even with this defeat here for GamerLegion, they won't be punished for this because the remaining players are Viper versus Zupi or Rubenstock. And it would be a massive, massive, massive upset if Zupi or Rubenstock would be able to beat Viper. They're going to random map in the map pack as well with, I think, random mirror sieves. I'll have to double check. But as we go back over here, indeed, random mirror sieves on random map, and it's gonna be Viper versus either Rubenstock or Zupi. I would think it's gonna be Zupi because he was the one playing so far, but Rubenstock, like, at this point for Suomi, down 2 games in the grand scenario and having a massive, massive player disadvantage, in here, this might be the time to call for Rubenstock and try to go for something crazy because playing standard, I think that Suomi has less than 1% chance of winning this against Zupi or against Viper with Zupi or Rubenstock. So yeah, at this point, I would say that at this point, we are gonna have a potential need from Suomi to go for something crazy in this one. The civilizations are random mirrors, which means that you can't pick Sif for Suomi. And that means that it's not like, Rubenstock can just say, oh yeah, let's play Persians and go for like a TC drop. That ain't gonna happen that way. And the Zupi is gonna play as well. So it's gonna be Viper versus Zupi, which is a very, 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 very disturbing scenario for Suomi, because the thing is that Viper in 1v1 is like light years ahead of Zupi. Zupi is a good 1v1 player, but he's nowhere close to Viper in this one. So, with that being said, Viper is AFK, so that's what we're waiting for right now. But soon we will have game number 3.3 over here. Yeah, Zupi is a great personality, by the way. And that's something that we have to add. Zupi is one of the most entertaining and nicest AoE personalities ever. So he's like a super, super nice and chill guy. And indeed, it's nice to see that the Finns are also streaming regularly now. Not just Zupi, but also Rubens, or not. Well, Ruben's talk is on and off with the streams, but Vilas also is streaming quite a bit, and it's always nice to see. They're all very, very nice guys. And I would be sad if Suomi lost like 4-0 here, because currently we're heading in that direction. Viper versus Zupi is very, very likely going to be in the favor of Viper. This would secure score number 3 for GamerLegion, and then Suomi would have to play in a 3-game deficit, and that feels like a very, very tough scenario. All right, the players are back, so on to game number 3.3 we go. It is going to be Bulgarian Mirror, ladies and gentlemen. The map is currently unknown, but oh my goodness, what am I looking at? It's a Nomad start, and I have absolutely no idea. I don't think that I've seen this map ever in this tournament before, so I'm gonna have to look it up on how it's even called. I think this map is called Pamir Mountains. So the map is Pamir Mountains, and hello there. Each team has their restart still, but what a better way to decide the 1v1 section than what is basically going to be a Nomad PC rush here. I don't think that the players know where the opponent is at right now. Oh, Viper knows it. Viper knows it, and I don't know if the rules actually say anything about killing Wills in Dark Age, but let's be honest. Zupi has 1 Will here. Viper has 3. So if Viper pulls 2, he can stop that TC, and I mean, Zupi is so far away. Oh, this could be the fastest game ever. Like, honestly, I think that if the rules don't state that you can, fight Wills in Dark Age, you could send 2 Wills here and stop this TC, voll it in, and it's game over. It looks like Zupi's TC will go up, but at this point, I mean, he has to go for a big, big, big journey all the way around. I wonder if it would have been better if he just drops the TC, like, closer to the back here. I also want to highlight that the Vipers will seem to start very, very close to each other. We can actually rewind this a little bit here, but look at this. This is where Vipers' wheels are spawning at. Here, here, and here. All very close. Zupi's wheels, he has 1 over here, 1 over here, and 1 over here. What are those map hacks? Viper once again living with the map hack meme over here, and it looks like we have a restart. This is, I'm 100% sure, Suomi restart. The Finns will probably say that on the Discord, but I am like 99% sure this was a Suomi restart. There's absolutely no way, even though Viper is the player that resigns, there's absolutely no way that Viper called the restart here. So, as it was listed in the settings, a restart in a random map case will also reroll the maps. So, it was random map, random mirror civilizations, all of that is gone, and we'll have a complete reroll here in 3.3. So, new map, new mirror civilizations. Viper is just now hosting, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit. I don't blame Suomi for calling a restart there. If it was Ruben's stock, I think they don't call a restart and just say, okay, let's go. But I am fairly certain that the main reason why that restart was called is because when Zupi finished the town center, like, I'm just gonna show that. The restart was suspiciously close to the timing of when Zupi finished the town center. So it's very likely that he finished it, he sees Viper's TC and he's like, oh no, and he's gonna be the one that ends up with the restart. I would be massively surprised if Viper was the one calling this, because Viper's got a perfect situation here. He's got a 1v lead because his TC was up faster. Yeah, like, I don't think that this is something that Viper would have called. All right. So we're going into a restart here. Game number 3.3 once again coming up. And oh boy, what? Viper called a restart? Interesting. That is a little bit surprising because I don't think that he should have called a restart. And we may have a crash, right? Or what happened here? The game says game over. It might be a game bug, actually. Oh no, out of sync. It's actually out of sync. That's bad. Okay, let's hope it actually comes back. The map is actually going to be a Burgundian's mirror here. Let's hope it's not going to be out of sync again. Oh no, it's out of sync. I wonder if it's actually out of sync for other casters as well, because if not, then I'm going to have to... Nope, it's just out of sync for me. Wonderful. I'm gonna have to restart my game, but until then, we're actually going to be casting from... Let's see if TaToH is gonna out of sync as well. Nope. No one got out of sync, just me. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna show you Jordan. So let me get you over here. Until I'm actually fixing the game, here is Jordan casting. Well, obviously you can't hear him, but the map is actually something like Mount... I'm not sure which map is this, but this actually looks like Eruption. So it's a fairly standard map with a Burgundian's mirror, by the way. And let us pray that restarting the game actually helps fix the out of sync issue. It is a known casting issue, but it never actually happened to me. So I'm really hoping that this time it's going to work. Because no one knows what it caused or what causes this out of sync issue overall. Okay, it works. So it looks like a game restart solved the issue. I'll have to launch up Capture Age again. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but back on track we are. So welcome back to the final game, actually, of the 1v1 section over here. The Viper is going to be playing Burgundians in blue on the left side. I'm going to fast forward up so we are actually in sync with the others. And we will have Zupi on the right side as red. The map, actually, now that I have time to look at it, is called... where is that? Mount Bromo. So I was right about Mount. Indeed, the map is called Mount Bromo. You have a sort of a volcano over here with a bunch of gold in the middle. So as I said, this map is actually very, very similar to Eruption. We're gonna have some early walls coming in here from the Viper. He's playing Burgundians on the left in blue. He's free on wood, which means that he's most likely gonna go for a scout's play, but he already grabbed double bidax. Other side, we also have free on wood for Zupi, as now we're live with the game. So we caught up. We have red with Burgundians again for him, double bidax in as well. We have deer push coming in from both sides relatively fast over here. One of the special things on this map is that the berries are always on the outside over here, so you have to walk quite a bit to grab your berries. But there's extra berry patches as well, in case you need that. I like how Viper is walling off like a quick side, or like one side of his base over here. He's gonna bump into a tiger, and tiger might be attacking downhill, so Viper's gonna be careful. Nope, Viper now has the hill, so he should have no trouble killing that tiger. So Zupi, as things stand, is not actually committing that much to voling himself. Instead goes for an early second lumber camp. Ends up going up at 21 population. For scouts, what is Viper up to? He doesn't have a huge amount of gold to work with, but there is some over here. I'm not sure if he scouted that. He's going up at 21 population as well. So you have part of the game cut off. What? True. What happened to capture age over here? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to fix my OBS. But indeed, we're a little bit cut off. Yeah, that's the best thing we can do. Yeah, now we're good. This is actually... I just had to double check. Sometimes that happens to capture age. Still sort of alpha phase. Or no, well, at least beta phase or so for stuff. And I haven't actually messed around with my OBS for a while, so I'm gonna have to do a big cleaning up on my streaming software at some point. Anyways, back to the game. It looks like the bottom is still being cut off a little bit. But, well, it is what it is. Shouldn't really be a big thing. Not even sure why it's doing that. But anyways, I will fix it off stream. For now, you can live with that. Letters are being cut off at the bottom a little bit. I want to focus more on the games. So, Fuel Age is in for both players. They're both going for Bo7 already, and Horse Color being dropped here by the Viper already. And even Heavy Plow for Zoopy. This feels a little bit too ambitious to me, because like his eco is gonna be amazing with Heavy Plow, but I feel like the return... The thing is that Bo7 has an immediate return value, whereas for Heavy Plow, it takes quite a lot of time. Basically, you have to make farms. First of all, you don't even have a farm for Zoopy, but now he's building that. But until like late Feudal Age, only Horse Color is what matters. So the first time that you will get any benefit from Heavy Plow is gonna be like late Feudal Age. In exchange, this is a massive investment. So I'm not sure if this is worth it for Zoopy. Going for early Bo7 definitely does. Going for early Horse Color, well, not early, but that's a standard Horse Color timing for Scouts builds, is also alright. But investing into Heavy Plow this early might be a little bit too excessive, and I'm not sure if you are actually going to be getting return value in time for it. If you are safe back at home and you're not getting overrun by Scouts, it could definitely pay off. I'm just saying that Zoopy right now has bigger problems than Heavy Plow, I feel like, right now. Like, he's gonna have to finish his woes, otherwise Viper is just going to destroy him with Scouts. In this one, we're gonna have the Viper with just one stable for time being. He's basically Wood. This wood line helps quite a bit for him. Overall, he also milled the second patch of berries and finds some deer as well there. So Viper's eco seems to be very, very decent over here. And Zoopy will go for the full walls. He hasn't actually walled off this hole here, and if he doesn't wall that hole off, that could end up being a disaster. So this is still a little bit scary for Zoopy. He's playing defensive. The problem is that Viper's macro is just so strong that if you just play defensive, Viper will just flat out outboom you. And that's the danger of facing Viper. For now, Zoopy is just trying to make sure that he's not gonna get overrun by Scouts, sort of going for the fast walls over here. But at this point, I think Viper is just gonna sit back, chill, and go up overall. It's worth pointing out that Zoopy had to invest a lot more into walling. Look at this, all the way around. Whereas for Viper, he's got some walls over here, he's got some walls over here, but that's basically it. So I feel like Viper invested way less into his walls in this one. Now, keep in mind that Zoopy went for the Heavy Plow early on, which means that these farms will be very, very long lasting, and he will start getting the return value for it. However, look at this food count. As I said, it's going to need some time until the farms actually, you know, start having their effect from the Heavy Plow. And Viper, he's just piling up food here. If you look at the food counts, the difference basically is the Heavy Plow food count. There is like a little bit more difference in the favor of Viper, but Viper decided that, okay, I don't want to invest into that tech, which will have a pretty long time until it actually returns its value. I will just go boom into Castle Age, and Viper's Castle Age time here is going to be blazing fast. So you see he already clicks up to Castle Age with only 2 seconds T-side idle time the entire game. Beautifully played here by Viper, and the fast Cavalier play here is very, very possible. Right now, we have Zupi on the way towards Castle Age in the next 1 or 2 minutes, but he finds this hole and walls it off. However, keep in mind that just even early Cavaliers could be very, very devastating here from Viper. And he could drop a forward Siege Workshop to press on with this one. Zupi just now clicking up to Castle Age in here. And Viper going for second stable indeed. Just now going for Heavy Plow, which means that Heavy Plow will only affect the second batch of farms he drops. But he's only on 9 farms. So the idea here for Viper is that he went for early farms. These are with Horse Color, but only 9 of them. And the next batch of farms that he will drop after these wheels are done with the berries, they will already have Heavy Plow. In exchange, Zupi has 16 farms, but all of them are with Heavy Plow. It very much seems like Zupi didn't have a good secondary berry patch, so he can't really go for that. And both players will go for Cavalry. But Viper actually goes for Forging. In a Cavalry versus Cavalry warfare, Forging could actually be a better tech than defensive upgrades. And what on the earth happened over here? It looks like Viper just broke into Zupi's base, which obviously is a disaster right now for Zupi. I'll have to rewind that one to see what happens, but first, let's see what Viper can accomplish with these scouts. Zupi has 2 scouts and 4 spearmen, but none of them are actually back at home to help out. Quick walls are nice from Zupi over here, and the spearman comes in to help, but these scouts do have a +1 attack right now. No bloodlines because it's Burgundians, keep that in mind. So this actually is a life-saving thing here for Zupi, that these guys at least do not have bloodlines, but against Viper, such mistakes are not something that you can afford, because you don't want to be falling behind over here. It looks like it's gonna be 1 villager yoinked only, the other one is safe, but still, obviously it's far from ideal, and more importantly, if that hole still is there, the first knights from Viper will come in as one. Look at this. 2-man saw. Viper is going for such a greedy eco-heavy build here. 2-man saw after 20 minutes. So okay, this is the time right now to go back in here and see what happened, and it very much seems like Viper just bashed his way through his walls, and there was a hole in between these houses that Zupi built for contingency reasons. So that's why Viper was able to break in there. So now, back we are with the live feed. We're gonna have Cavalier on the way for Viper with the early husbandry. He's knocking on all of the gates. And Zupi going for defensive monastery. Viper goes for free TC play, and he already has a monastery out. I just feel like Viper is 1 step ahead in every single element of this game right now. And if GamerLegion wins this 1v1, or if Viper wins this to be precise, then this is gonna be a 3-0 scoreline for GamerLegion here. And after that, I don't know how Suomi could turn it around. Even though we're going back team games, 3-0 scoreline, a best of 7 match point for GL seems like a massive, massive deficit here. And it looks like these knights are once again inside here. They were able to kill, I think there's a dead villa on top of that house foundation. There is a hole there, and these knights are now once again running around. Now it's Cavaliers. There is a monk here for Zupi. He could try to get a conversion, but I think Viper might just be waiting for the opportunity to keep this open and just get some more cavalry in here. Zupi not getting a conversion just yet, and it looks like Viper is not adding a lot more military. So Viper is just going for relics. Look at this, he's already picking up relic number 2 with Burgundians. That also gives him a trickle of food, not just gold. So Viper's economy here is gonna be crazy. 2-man saw, heavy plow, extra relics, and I feel like this is the scenario of, you know, he was playing aggressively, so he forced Zupi to defend, but from this point on, Viper would just boom. And Viper's boom is gonna be crazy here. So, at this point, I just don't know how Zupi could potentially win this game, because Zupi is already behind by 10 vills, and it's not like his army is capable of destroying Viper. Viper's got 10 cavaliers with +1 attack, other side's only 7 knights with +1/+1. So it looks like Zupi is just right now scouting for the opponent, see what he's doing. Viper tries to get a conversion on the scout, but will actually give up on it. For now, 3 TCs for Viper, still just 1 for Zupi. Zupi doesn't have the wood to make additional town centers. He just doesn't have the wood for it. And I believe that Viper will soon think about dropping a castle in the middle. Like, he's sending wheels to stone right now. Zupi could find monk kills here. This could be good. Oh, that's the first bad move from Viper in this game. That was very, very sloppy. -3 monks for the snake over here. So Viper is sending wheels to stone now, which allows him to start gathering stone and drop a castle in the middle. If he gets a castle up here, Zupi will never have gold. There is a lot of, like, random gold piles scattered across the map, so it's not like Zupi will run out of gold entirely, but obviously he's gonna have to constantly relocate his gold miners into areas that are very, very raidable, whereas Viper could just get a castle up here and, you know, start mining this gold and basically never run out of gold. In this one, now it's 9 on stone, so Viper actually wants a castle really fast over here, in fact. Counterattack on the way from Zupi, and technically those knights could afford to run past the TC here and get into Viper's base. The only chance I see for Zupi is if he actually is able to get in here and start killing like massive amounts of vills. Viper is going to try and do something very, very similar over here, goes for a stable, Cavalier on the way for Zupi. Viper now sees the counterattack, and as I said, Viper's base is very exposed over here, so Zupi's got a reasonable chance at killing quite a lot of eco, and you see that Viper's gonna have to scramble to keep those vills alive and send all his cavalry back. Fletching coming in for Viper so that he can actually increase the damage output of those town centers. And look at Viper, he's just trying to hide the vills right now. Quick walls coming in here. This definitely is a sort of a scrambling for defense for Viper. The good news for him is that he still just lost 2 vills, and that means that even though the idle time that this is forcing is considerable, Zupi is losing quite a lot of army here. And it's not like he's actually getting a large amount of vill kills. We're talking about 2 vill kills the entire game. And in exchange, Viper now has a 20 vills lead. And Viper is also going to grind down those knight numbers nice and easy over here. Viper even tries to grab a couple of cavalry over here with the conversions. And now he realizes, okay, I'm going to clean this up anyways. So I might as well try to launch a counterattack as soon as possible. Soon both players will have to move out to the middle for gold. So you're gonna have to bring in some vills from Viper to do that. I think by the time Viper needed to move out for gold, he would have had the castle if he didn't need to run away from this one. Now he's gonna have to wait a little bit, but he's 10 on stone, so he wants to drop a castle really fast. And second TC just now coming in here for Zupi, who's taking into pikeman. Viper deletes a Cavalier to avoid conversion, but he actually yoinks the relic away, and that is now relic number 3 coming in for Viper. 429 stone in the bank for him. I don't think he can get the castle up here now though, so he might need to settle with something like this, as Viper is also stacking into infantry, so we're gonna have knight and pikemen from both sides. Viper launching an assault against the walls on the left side, only to meet with some more contingency walls here from Zupi. Zupi is also going to launch an assault here though, gets 2 of his knights or cavaliers converted, make it free, so Viper actually grabs quite a decent amount of conversions, and let's see if he fights this here. He shouldn't, as it looks like he will take the hill and fight this one. This is a risky call from the Viper, but it could pay off. He's trying to snipe the monks over here. The pikemen have a +1/+1 on them as well. And it looks like this will end up in rather an even fight. Zupi's army numbers are much better, but I just don't see him being able to push Viper. And remember that Viper's got 90 eco compared to 54. Here's the castle being dropped by Viper. He's also going for a couple of pikemen, and Zupi wanted to turn this into sort of a pike and siege style push, but if this castle goes up for Viper, that seems to be a very, very unlikely scenario. And if Viper walls those vills in, that's also going to be sufficient to keep them alive. It looks like, however, he's just going to say no and retreat. A bit of a doubt castle over there from the snake, losing quite a lot of vills trying to get that up, and it's still not finished. And as I said, it would be an enormous upset if Zupi beat Viper here, and Viper should still have a massive advantage, but Viper's gotta be careful, because currently Zupi is the one controlling the hill here, and at this point Viper's army numbers slowly climbing up though, and he's gonna have +2, +1 pikes right now. I think he's just waiting for a pikeman. This is still not an ideal fight for a Viper, but I feel like he knows that he's ahead economically, so he can just flood his opponent with more units. And I think, as I said, this is sufficient for the Viper to hold this one off, or is it? Keep in mind that even if Viper's army dies here, Zupi won't really be able to inflict that much damage to his economy. Viper now is, by the way, on 4 TCs, and it looks like Viper cancels the castle, so he understands that it's going to be a little bit harder than he thought to get that castle up. Cavaliers are now running in here, and Viper once again is going to have a hard time getting that castle up. He is also buying a huge amount of food here, so he has had some food issues, and now the Cavaliers will run past, trying to get into Viper's economy. Viper has an 18 vills lead still, but a lot of his eco is idle, so one thing that we have to consider is that Zupi, he has a sort of an untouched eco. 1 hour 20 minutes idle time for Viper, only 31 minutes for Zupi. Still, if Viper gets this defensive castle up, he's gonna be back on track, and his overall economy is still going to give him massive leverage in this game. As now you are gonna have some more stone miners being sent out by Viper, so he wants a second castle. And I am fairly certain he wants that second castle on this ridge in an effort to secure the middle gold mine. It very much seems like the push from Zupi inside Viper's base is now gone. And let's see if Viper actually techs into Custeliers. Because a couple of Custeliers could be nice here. Indeed, here comes the first one. And Viper just dived in with that Custelier, sniped the Mangonel and deleted it to make sure it doesn't get converted. Viper trying to get some conversions in here, but that Monk is just going to die to the Scorpion. And indeed, Viper is stacking into Custeliers, which is probably the better solution in the long run. Right now, another TC on the way for the Snake, still having a 27 vills lead right now. 44 on food, only 15 on gold though for the Viper, so he still needs to secure the middle, but I just feel like he wants one big push, secure the middle. He's got 12 on stone, so he really wants a castle up in the middle, and here it goes. That's quite a lot of pikemen from Zupi. He's got only +1/+1 though, whereas his opponent of the Viper has +2/+2, so those are fully upgraded Castle Age pikemen for the Snake, as they keep poking each other until one side loses, and that side is going to be Zupi's side. And indeed, somewhat expectedly, I would say, GamerLegion takes game number 3 over here, Viper, to be precise, against Zupi. So even though we last defeated TaToH, it was the strongest member of GL left for potentially the weakest member of Suomi here in the third game of this best of 3 subset. And now the Viper ensuring that his team is going to have 3 points now in the grand scheme. And that means that now... Oh, Zupi's base! I didn't even see this. Indeed. It very much seems like Viper dispatched some of his Cavalier to do this, but thanks to the wonders of rewinding, we can actually look at this. Oh, this is what happened. I was wondering where Viper's Cavalier are at, but I am fairly certain that Viper timed this so that he's actually going to fight this one over here and, you know, make sure Zupi is distracted, and simultaneously send in the Cavalier. And look at that. He unleashes the pikemen, and just like I was focusing at this entirely, like Zupi did, Viper also unleashes the Cavalier, and that pushes Zupi down to like 67 vills. I didn't even see this. And Zupi had to focus here because he needs to get conversions with his monks whatsoever. He lost that fight regardless, but while he was distracted, the Cavalier just rampaged his base. I don't think that... like, even if these Cavalier aren't in here, I feel like Zupi was dead, because if you look at Viper's army right now over here, and Viper that would just drop a castle here and deny the gold income from Zupi, that would have been enough for a GG anyways. But true, this just made sure that, you know, it's not even a question anymore. Viper, relatively easy win versus Zupi over here. And now we will go back to the team game section. We're going to Danakil, which is a preset map. In preset maps, each map has a civilization pool to choose civilizations from. And in that case, That is going to be for WDC. It is... Where is that? Where's WDC at? WDC... I'm probably blind. But it's not on the list. It's actually not on the list in Wikipedia. So I guess it's a mystery what civs can be chosen over here. It looks like we're just waiting for Zupi to join up the lobby, and then they will get going in a matter of moments. So let's just wait. WDC is one of the craziest maps of the tournament, by the way. So what you're going to see here, in case someone watched one of my previous casts, if I say Woodlick, then you should know what I'm talking about. This is the map. Oh no, we have seen this map once. This is the map where you have to chop down relics to get wood. So we called them Woodlicks or Woolix. I think it was Woolix. So the way it works is that there is a bunch of like relic models that are used. You can attack those with any unit, and when you destroy them, you get a tree. That is how this map is gonna work. You have no idea what I'm talking about? You will soon find out. It's gonna be crazy. WDC is one of the weirdest maps of the entire tournament. Like, I actually proposed that it would be cool to have a game mode where you have like a bunch of those fake relics, and you actually hide like one real relic in between them, and the first player to find that real relic wins. But anyways, it looks like the players are ready. So we will get going with game number 4 over here. 3-0 right now. I actually forgot to add the score here, but it's a 3-0 now because the 1v1 section was also won by GamerLegion. If GL wins here, they will win the finals in a 4-0 fashion. Oh yeah, this map also has the 9 HP, 99 damage monkeys in the middle. And probably a bunch of other crazy things. This map is actually super crazy. I think it also has the burning oil, right? Or is it a different map? Like, there's a map that actually has oil that's burning on it. Okie dokie. So, we're just waiting for Jordan to ready up, which occurred right now. We're going to WDC for the decider game. The good news for Suomi is that this is a crazy map. So, this is a map where they could potentially have some surprises left for GL. But here we go. We have 44 seconds of waiting time. Civilization-wise, we'll have Ethiopians, Berbers, Chinese for GL, and Ethiopians, Persians, Chinese for Suomi. So the only difference is that the pocket will not be Berbers. For Suomi, it will be Persians, which I think for this map is the worst decision, because Berber Night Flood on this map could be very dangerous. The map itself is super open because there is actually no wood lines. So this is a Castle Age heavy map, and that should favor Berbers. If we get to Imperial, Persians will prevail over Berbers, that's for sure. And they also have nice extra damage against archers on their knights. But I feel like the cheaper knights in Castle Age could be very, very useful here for Berbers. And with that being said, it's time to jump into WDC, the map of the heretics. This map is gonna be something special. Let's just say that. So here we go. We are gonna have, first things first, Suomi on the left side of the map will have Persians the max in green pocket. Flanks will be Zupi on the north in Ethiopians in blue, and Chinese for Vilas on the south in teal. We will have Ethiopians for Jordan in purple, flank for GL, and Chinese for TaToH in red. It's going to be Chinese versus Ethiopians on both sides, and now you have Berbers for Viper in the middle. So you might be looking at the middle and saying, hey, there's a lot of relics. But these are not relics, these are Woolix. because if you actually attack these and destroy them, you will get trees. Trees that actually carry 300 wood, and you need those because you don't actually have good wood lines to work with. In addition, the middle has a bunch of smoke monkeys that have 99 damage, 99 armor, and 9 HP, so they will actually attack you as well. You also have burning oil in the corners. These don't actually damage you, these are just for aesthetics. And a bunch of gold in the corners there. So this is indeed the map of Satan, to be honest. You also start with a bunch of farms, apparently, so that's sort of a new thing as well. For now, you're going to be chopping wood lines like this, and the question is, I'm not sure if either of these teams know how this map works, because I don't think that I've seen either of these teams playing on this one, but yeah, if you haven't actually practiced this game or map once, you're not gonna have any idea how it works. So this is a bit like a Gold Rush game, just with wood, because the wood is the limited resource over here, and there is, I think, all across the map, how many? I can double click. All around the map there is 240 of these Volix, most of them in the middle, but there is smaller patches all across the map. Each of them is giving you a 300 wood tree if you actually destroy that, but you have to destroy it actively. So, nice and peaceful map, isn't it? The bushes regenerate? Are they? I don't know if they regenerate as well. That would be cool. Oh, the monkey. What is this monkey doing? He's on a mission. He's on a mission, go boys. He's just running all the way around. Okay, so as things stand, it looks like we have a fairly standard start for everybody. According to Wikipedia, bushes regenerate. Oh yeah. While we have a bit of a peaceful time, let's read about this one. Bushes scattered around the player's starting areas automatically regrow a few times once fully harvested. In addition to that, the center's church, forest, and few other places bear the opportunity to plant trees. By working on the saplings, represented by relic-looking objects, you will plant a new wood-rich tree once the relic is destroyed. These trees can be harvested once, but not completely. Once the 300 wood planted tree is at 0 wood, an unharvestable tree spawns. These mechanics provide an additional wood source in case of a long game, however, they don't change standard gameplay in an average game. So, apparently these bushes regrow. Now, this is where I have to highlight that this tournament is also, you know, sort of an environmental fundraiser type of a thing as well. I think they're actually gathering funds with this to like a tree-related charity, something like Team Trees or something like that. You know, the guys that plant trees. And that might be the reason why this mechanic works like this. So this is basically by planting trees, so to say. Alright, let's focus on the game now. As we have a Drush coming in here from Zoopy in blue. We also have a Drush from Jordan, or at least that's probably going to be a Drush. Is it? He might end up going for Men-at-Arms or just flat out cancel his Drush over here because he sees that Vilas sees his barracks, so he might not go for the Drush after all. Is there legit true relics on the map? Yes, there is a standard amount of relics on the outside rim. These are actual relics that are not fake relics. So, let's see. Still no militias? Okay, now Jordan is queuing up militias, which means he wants to open Men-at-Arms. After all, other side, the militias of Zoopy, he only made 2 of them, is trying to knock on the walls of TaToH here. We have militias coming out for Vilas, most likely from Men-at-Arms play here as well. And in the pockets, the players are just going for 20 pop scouts, both. So now the militias are moving out here from Jordan. Men-at-Arms should be able to trade off against each other. Vilas adds militia number 4 in this one, as Jordan runs into the TC fire over here. That's a little bit sloppy over here. It's worth pointing out that the layout of the players is the same as it was in the first game. So TaToH versus Zupi over here, and then other flank is gonna be Jordan versus Vilas. In the first game, Jordan was able to beat Vilas in pretty much what was a 1v1. This time, it looks like we're gonna have Men-at-Arms coming in here for Zupi and potentially TaToH as well. TaToH hasn't clicked it just yet. He doesn't have the food for it, so TaToH now going for Men-at-Arms. In this one, Men-at-Arms on the way for Zupi. And we will have scouts coming in from the 2 pockets, as one would expect. It looks like Viper will be helping on TaToH's side, and I would expect the Max to do the same thing here as well, which is going to be the exact same scenario as the first game. As I said, you're going to have Zupi versus TaToH on the north, helped out by Viper and Max, and the other side is just going to be a Vilas versus Jordan 1v1. So let's see, right now, this gold mine is inaccessible for TaToH, but he has a gold mine at the back, so he should be good to go. He's waiting for archers, so he can actually take this fight a little bit more cost-efficiently. The men-at-arms of Jordan are actually heading towards the pocket Max over here, in an effort to try and, you know, pressure him, since he can only defend with scouts. And at this point, I feel like the best thing that Jordan can do is trade off those men-at-arms against the scouts of the opponent, but it looks like he will just have a fight here against the men-at-arms. It's a nice cleanup there from Suomi. Speaking of cleanups, however, we could have a cleanup over here as well on the north, on the army of Zupi, who now commits to this fight over here, tries to use the scout to snipe down the archer, but that's not gonna happen. And Zupi might lose his scout over here, which is far from ideal. Indeed, Zupi's scout is gone. On the other hand, though, it looks like TaToH lost all his men-at-arms. He's gonna have the archers to hold off these men-at-arms, though, so it's not the end of the world. And it looks like we have a scout scuffle over here. One wheel went down here from Zupi, so while Zupi was focused on microing his stuff on the front, Viper came in, picked off a wheel, and remember that Zupi's eco here is in a bit of a disaster. Look at this berry bush. That's actually 12 wheels on the berries. So once that runs out, Zupi's eco is gonna be in a very, very tough situation. It looks like Max actually destroyed some of these fences over here. These are 1 hit each, so he can actually send the scouts through the middle very early on. And we have archers on the way for Jordan on the other side as well. Vilas forced to make a defensive tower. It looks like Jordan doesn't find this low HP Vil, but he could have picked off one over there. Still, defensive tower was already forced on Vilas. Vilas will actually go for a counterattack, and Jordan does have a defensive tower as well. Scaleboarding on the way for Viper, as now they're heading towards Zupi over here. Once scaleboarding is in, which happens in a couple of seconds, I feel like these archers won't be able to hold this one off. And this is looking really grim right now for Suomi, I'm not gonna lie. Like, TaToH's archers got fletching, same thing here for Zupi. Cavalry support is in, but we actually have bloodlines for Max, so it might not be that bad for Viper, because Viper's got +1 defense, but he's up against bloodlines. It looks like Vilas will actually end up cleaning up this one as well, and Suomi might be able to hold this one. The big problem that Suomi is facing is that the eco of Zupi is under heavy pressure, so Zupi's economy is gonna be very, very weak here. You see that he's only 1 range. Compare that to TaToH, who's double ranges now, and he's got a pretty much untouched eco in this one. So the fact that Zupi is losing wheels over here doesn't look good now for Suomi, because Viper, still without bloodlines, but now he has +1/+1. For Max, he also has +1/+1, but he doesn't have the numbers. So +1/+1 bloodlines, but no numbers, versus no bloodlines just yet, but better numbers for Viper. The second range is getting delayed over here. And as I said, on the south, it looks like Jordan is once again beating Vilas. It's the same thing that we have seen in the first game of the set. 1v1 on the south, that is won by Jordan, and then TaToH and Viper just overrun Max and Zupi here. And this could be a massive stomp. This could be a massive stomp, and I don't think that Suomi is playing to their maximum potential But we also have to add that the maps that they are getting is not something that favors their skill set. I feel like their skill set would be better used in some slower placed or more closed maps, and both Painted Desert, both this one, these are very aggressive maps, which seem to favor GamerLegion, and I feel like that's the end. Because these wills here will probably go down, not all of them, but this will just spiral out of control. If you add it to the fact that the south is just even at best, and you look at Zupi, he's in a tough spot, and GamerLegion absolutely stomping Suomi over here. I don't know if part of that can be attributed to the fact that Suomi, Suomi seemed very strong versus Tempo last weekend. The problem for Suomi here is that the GamerLegion plays a very, very similar style to Suomi. However, GamerLegion just does it better because they are both both teams are focused heavily on team chemistry, good teamwork, and using special maps to their advantage. But GamerLegion has better individual players, and that seemed to prevail over here in this one. And with that being said, it is a 4-0 over here for GamerLegion. The only game that Suomi was able to win was Vilas versus TaToH, and as I said, I feel like TaToH would have had the opportunity there to finish off Vilas in Castle Age with Eagles, but GamerLegion looking very, very dominant over here. Suomi getting into the grand finals, but it looks like either the fact that they were preparing for Red Bull Vololo and they might not have had enough time to prepare for this one as well at the same time, or just the fact that GamerLegion just outplayed them from start to finish, results in a somewhat underwhelming final series. I was saying 4-2. I based it on the fact that Suomi looked pretty strong, but we have to add something. GamerLegion 3-0'd the Chilean team. That was somewhat predictable. Then 3-0'd Heresy, which was a bit more of a surprise. 4-1 versus Vietnam Legends, very convincing game as well. So we could see in this entire tournament that GamerLegion was playing very, very strong overall. Other side, Suomi never actually got a strong opponent to play against. So while Suomi looked strong in the games they played, they actually beat KGB, which was like Fire, Goku, Ryut, and Alive. But they didn't actually match up against White Wolf Palace because Rulers of Rome defeated them. Suomi 3-0'd ROR over there, and then they got an admin win in the semifinals because Tempo wasn't able to play. Although in the semifinals, the first team game was won by Suomi. So maybe the random maps, as I said, have not played to their strengths because I feel like there could have been some maps that actually favor Suomi a little bit more than GamerLegion, but it is what it is. GL, very convincing game over here, strong all across the board in 1v1s in team games. Their team coordination and individual execution teamed up together results in a somewhat one-sided win over here, and with that, the GamerLegion A is the champion of World Desert Championship.